welcome to episode 35 Dial H for Heroclix.
Dear God, are we on 35 already?
Apparently. I'm your host, Hunter Smith. With me today is my cousin and good friend, Austin Smith.
I like we had to state cousin because everyone thinks we're brothers.
And the man who plows more beaver than a reckless riverboat captain, Mr. Drew Alderson.
How we doing today, folks?
Doing pretty good. Today's discussion is going to be the current state of the meta, what we've seen in the ROCs, the teams that are doing well now post watch list. I would like us to do this about every 2 months or 3 months or so, and just say kind of what's going on now for the people who don't pay close attention to the kind of upper tier teams and competitive games. We can go over what's been doing well, talk about what we think about that, and talk about whatever the circumstances are. So today we're going to talk about what's going on, and then we're going to make predictions on what SLOSH pieces, which ones in particular will make waves, we think, and if so, why? Why is that? And what are they going to do? Like, for instance, when we get into Highfather, like, what is he going to change that's currently in the meta right now? Stuff like that. So I was
going to say, we got a man in the field giving us a little bit of info today, a little sneak preview.
Yeah.
Sadly, he can't really call in, I guess.
But maybe we can have him on in a future episode and have him talk about everything. But let's first get into news and see what we got here. First of all, WizKids has put out a press release. If you guys want to follow along on news, go to Heroclix.com. And they basically are just giving us a updated shipping list on all their things since they've delayed everything into oblivion. First up, Winter Soldier is releasing on March 12th, which will be next week.
So it only got delayed a week, because originally for this week.
Also from WizKids, not Heroclix related, but Marvel Dice Masters, AVX, which we may get in try.
I'm definitely getting it to try it because I've heard really good things about it, and from watching the videos, it looks really good.
That's set to release April 23rd. Yu-Gi-Oh!, which we'll be talking about later in the community section, got pushed all the way to April 23rd. So
Yay, Hunter. What's that word right after the main gravity feed? Organized play kit.
Oh, cool. So, and they have an actual SKU number for that.
Yeah.
And then Star Trek Attack Wing, the Tholian Web episode.
Organized play kit.
It's a mouthful, Gady. Release date April 30th as well. So, Winter Soldier will be soon. That is the gaming store version, though. Just remember, there will also be a mass market exclusive.
But it probably won't hit until the movie does.
Correct. That seems to have been the way that they've been doing the movie sets. Austin, you want to talk about Goblin Zombie from Yu-Gi-Oh?
There ain't much to talk about here, but
they're just throwing out the crap because they delayed it.
Goblin Zombie is a common from the Yu-Gi-Oh set. Has Bakura and Dark as its keywords. It's a pretty vanilla dial.
I actually like it though.
I do like it for it's 39 points. Has Stealth Blade super senses on top dial. It drops onto Steel Energy and Toughness, and then its last click's regen with some sidestep and stuff like that. He's not terrible for 39 points. He's just not he's a good common.
Yeah. And he'll be a great sealed addition because he'll fit on teams. He's pretty solid overall.
My biggest upset, though, is that he doesn't have the monster keyword because you can't play him with normal zombies.
Yeah, that's true. They don't throw out generic keywords enough. Although this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Set, so we can't really see too much since it's kind of separate. But I kind of like the dial for 39 points for sealed because he's got protection moving up with stealth. There's not going to be that many stealth busters in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
So he'll get up safely. Even if you hit him, you're going to hit him onto one of his Steel Energy clicks. And I think for 39 points for tie-up...
I think he's got holding power, too.
For tie-up and holding power, I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
They put out their official Deadpool... I don't know what we call these things, but when
announcements.
Yeah, when a set's getting closer, they give us more details. They showed the boosters covers for Deadpool. There's a Heroes for Hire sub-theme. The cover is Thunderbolts on one side, just Deadpool on another one.
Hold on, the OP kit stuff's there in the bottom left.
Yeah, there's a green Wolverine.
It looks like a Hydro Wolverine.
It's hard to tell, to be honest.
I'm trying to remember what costume in Deadpool it is, though. The yellow one.
They showed off some sculpts for the Deadpool core. They showed off the Thunderbolt sculpts, a
Paladin,
Misty Knight for the Heroes for Hire, Paladin, Gravity Feed. It's kind of hard to tell who those people are on the side of the Gravity Feed because they don't really zoom up on it very well. Domino, Daredevil, some other ones, and then the Thunderbolts from the Fast Forces, which we already know.
Yeah, and then a straight jacket item in the OP kit, which will be funny.
Yeah, that is Hydra Wolverine.
Awesome.
But here...
That's for OP kit.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, though, because I'm wondering what storyline that's from.
I'm not familiar with it, even though I read quite a bit of Deadpool.
There are Hydra versions of the Avengers, but I've never seen a Hydra Wolverine.
So they also gave us Deadpool, and this is an uncommon from the main set, and notice he has an A, so this will be the non-prime. There'll be a prime for this slot.
Oh man, what if it's X-Force?
So he has a special little symbol on his dial, and it's a word bubble symbol. And first of all, he has tons of keywords: Agency X, Assassin, Deadpool Core, Heroes for Hire, Six Pack, T-Bolts, Weapon X, X-Force.
I wasn't expecting Agency X to get a keyword. That's kind of cool.
He has his little word bubble symbol says "Merc with a mouth." Give him a free action. Attach a word balloon to him, replacing any that are currently attached. So he can only have one on at a time. It's not like Flocks of Bats or toys. Deadpool can use the associated effects. And then he has a trait during your first turn. You can choose to have Deadpool lose all keywords. If you do, he may choose a copyable team ability an opposing character possesses and may use it this game.
I've been kicked off better teams than this, but you seem to be recruiting.
That's a pretty nice ability, actually.
Yeah, it really is.
Especially if you're not playing him on a theme team anyways. You don't give a crap. Other than that, he has no theme. Or has no team ability.
He's got great flavor text, though.
It's a pretty solid dial overall. It's got a lot of running shot or sidestep. There's a 135 or a 90-point option. Both, it's worth the extra 45.
Looks like
for the 3 clicks. He gets 2 of them are running shot. One of them sidestep, blade, super senses, like good damage values with 4 and 3.
2 perplexes
with perplex. So pretty solid. Nothing special on this dial overall, but pretty solid.
Defense power.
He gets the same ridiculous regeneration power that the old Deadpool had on his last 3 clicks, second to last.
Was the old Deadpool ignorable though?
That I don't remember. We'll have to go back and look. It's ridiculous regeneration. Whenever he would be dealt damage, roll a d6. On a 1, he takes the damage plus 1. On a 2 to 3, he takes the normal. On 4 to 5, he takes 1. And on a 6, he heals 1. Can't be countered or ignored. Well, let's look, because I honestly can't remember if the other one could be ignored or not.
Which one was it? Web Spider?
The other fancy thing while you're looking this up is that this Deadpool can be attached to team bases. He can be attached to the Avengers or the X-Men team base.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, man.
Web Spider-Man 057.
No, it could be countered or ignored.
Yeah, it could. So this is a...
Oh, it's a trait, so it couldn't be countered, but it could be ignored.
Oh, yeah, right. So it's kind of better to have it as a trait full dial.
Yeah.
But still, this is a pretty... Like we said, nothing special, but pretty solid for the points.
Yeah, and then when he's attached to either team base...
he does have phasing regen.
Opposing characters can't use the Avengers or X-Men team abilities. I really like his dial. As I said, also, he's got really fun flavor text, too.
It's an uncommon, and it's great.
Also, we don't know what all word bubbles we're going to get. If there's
we know one of them, though, Hunter.
Right. But if we get a lot of good ones, then he may be a lot better than what we're thinking he's going to be. They did show one word bubble. It is a word balloon. Sorry. I never miss with the sheep gun. Give this character a power action and place a sheep token as described on the card adjacent to an opposing character within range and line of fire. This token becomes a bystander on your force. Now, the sheep doesn't do jack squat. It's 5 movement, 1 attack, 8 defense.
I like you gave it 1 attack instead of 0.
But what it basically is a horde token. Or, sorry, it's a end cap, basically. Like, if the character you're shooting this at doesn't have automatically break away, then you're basically kind of getting an end cap that doesn't have to make an attack and hit and, deal with super senses and attack values. You just pop a character all of a sudden next to them and they have to be tied up by the sheep. That's how I think of it,
Yeah.
That's why I would use it.
It's something fun, though, too.
Right.
Because it is a free action to swap the word bubble. So, having that in your toolbox is a good thing.
You put a hammer on this sheep, becomes 3 attack. It's pretty good these days.
Oh man, his combat values are modifiable. We got to remember this.
We can get that attack up to a 4.
Yeah,
We can get that damage up to a 3.
WizKids announced that their OP kit plans are going to change a little bit. Basically, instead of doing rotating OP kit series like No Man's Land, Infinity Gauntlet, etc., they're going to do one main storyline a year, like a 6-month one or a 4-month one. They haven't decided yet, and then weekly organized play. And now what that entails, we don't know. Maybe that just means they're going to put out more OP kits or bigger OP kits with the sets so that it lasts you all year.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know yet. They're just saying that they're going to switch things up. It's Xiran.
I'm kind of hoping what they end up doing is more types of figures and less of them. Kind of like how kits have now gone up to 4 figures. I kind of hope, for example, like each month we might.
Well, kits
that's wishful.
Kits used to be 4 figures.
Wait.
It was kind of after Batman that they started shrinking down. And
This is kind of off topic, but they're making another Constantine movie.
No, it's a show.
Oh, what?
Yeah, there's a Constantine show. You didn't know about that?
It's gonna fucking suck, isn't it?
That's what I was
I'm
about
sure
to say.
it will,
But the other thing,
I fucking hate my life.
what I'm
guys.
kind of hoping is the OP kits end up doing we see 4 figures a month, which would be really, that's like wishful thinking, I'm sure. But it'd be really cool if every week we come into play, there's a new OP kit figure up for play.
That would be a good idea.
Now, Ricky's Bane. So, at a recent toy fair, Xiran had a Captain America painted Sentinel out with the Days of Future Past stuff. There is a story behind this because Days of Future Past was originally planned to come out about 2 or 3 years ago, and they were showing off some of the stuff at a toy fair. And apparently Xiran had stated that this was originally going to be a retailer marquee-like figure, where they'd get like 1 or 2 of them to like showcase the set. And apparently it's from an alternate universe where Sentinels are like really advanced at hunting superheroes instead of mutants. And every time they kill a superhero, they paint it like the superhero they killed. So this is a Sentinel that has killed Captain America.
That's pretty sweet.
So this is out. We don't know what it is. We don't know how it's going to be distributed.
If it will be at all.
Yeah, if it will be at all, even, yeah. But it looks really cool. I'm hoping we see it. And then they also showed the teen box for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which
looks exactly like the...
It's like Trinity of Sin.
Yeah.
So it kind of confirms that it's separate. It's not part of a set.
Drewster.
Oh
God.
Why don't you talk about Avalanche? Avalanche is boy from Days of Future Past. He is a common.
So, I love this piece, and there's a multitude of reasons.
Really?
He's 72 points. He's, okay, so he's got this trait, which is, like, what could it be, Drew? 72 points. He can use Quake. When he does, he targets all opposing characters within 3 squares, and damage dealt to each hit character is instead equal to 5 minus the number of squares that is from Avalanche.
So adjacent characters will be 4, because they're technically 1 square away. And that means that farthest out it would deal 2 to characters that are 5 squares away. Or that are 3 squares away, sorry. That's ridiculous.
And instead equal... No.
Well, that's what...
4 squares away, you can still hit for 1.
It only hits within 3 squares, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. 3, okay, within 3, so yeah.
So he does a 4 damage Quake.
They limited it from...
And that's just to adjacent characters.
Yeah.
And then for each one out from there, it goes down by 1 down to 2. I mean, come on, man.
It's important to note that this would not work with the free action Quake.
Yeah, so don't be dropping hammers to this guy expecting.
Now, Drew, what else does he have on his dial that makes that even
fucking
more
precision
retarded?
strike.
And a 10 attack, which is not
10
bad.
attack.
I like this guy's... I mean, you're not going to play Sealed a lot with CTD sets, but if you did,
He'd be next.
this guy's awesome for Sealed.
You give this guy Anger's Hammer.
He gonna heal, he gonna heal, he gonna heal.
He's gonna shit all over.
This man will be healing more than Jesus.
This is traded too. He doesn't lose this.
Other than that, he's got Toughness CCE on the first couple clicks, Perplex for a couple after that, and then nothing, just naked and bad values and Toughness.
His only downfall is his lack of move and attack, which that's easily rectified in the current meta, so I mean... The possibilities, Hunter.
I don't think he's meta-worthy, but I think he's going to be really fun to play.
He's 72 points. He's
not meta-worthy, he's going to be ridiculous. We did, speaking of Winter Soldier earlier, we did get some information from Heroclix Online on the Winter Soldier starter kit. Now, it should be noted that this information is not 100% accurate. Heroclix Online figures tend to be simplified or have powers replaced that are complicated. Like, for example, Solomon Grundy, the one that I played today, his Heroclix Online version just has regen instead. So these powers might not be entirely accurate, but there is a preview up on HC Realms under the upcoming stuff.
We'll link it. I'll link it in the podcast notes.
We've got a Batroc, we've got Black Widow, we've got Winter Soldier, a Shield Agent with multiple dials, Falcon, Cap, of course. And they all look like pretty cool dials. They're not like amazing or anything. It's a typical starter kit. There's nothing that's sticking out as like a Killian yet, but if some of these, depending on what these powers end up being. But there's some pretty cool stuff. Definitely go check it out. We'll be seeing these spoilers very soon, actually. It's a set that I'm actually really looking forward to.
Yeah, I am too. I think I'm going to wait until the movie set comes out.
What's the last Winter Soldier figure we've gotten? Was there one in Cap?
We haven't gotten any Winter Soldiers.
There's never been a Winter Soldier?
No,
I thought you meant from the set.
No, I mean like...
No, yeah, there is an actual Winter Soldier, and he's not a bad dial at all.
Yeah, he's pretty
In
good.
fact, he was on one of the best build teams that was submitted to us this week, and I almost played it.
I was going to say, like, there's no way there hasn't been a Winter Soldier. I've just never played against him.
He's pretty solid. He's from the Avenger set, and even to this
that's why.
Even to this day, he holds up. That's why I like the one that is spoiled here on what we were talking about, because he's a better, updated version of this Avengers.
He's actually pretty sick.
Yeah, he is pretty good for his points. And then he kind of gets a bonus RCE there. Anyways, we had... let's move into what we played first. And we'll quickly go over Wednesday, where we had 600-point decap. And if nobody's played Decapitation...
It's a blast!
If any of your figures roll a crit miss, they are instantly KO'd. And
removed from the board.
Instantly removed from the board, so they don't trigger any effects after that. They're gone. You can't prob out of it either. Once you crit hit or you crit miss, it's done. Nobody can prob. Nothing happens. They're dead. That includes attacks that don't deal damage, so mind control and end cap and everything. The only thing...
Mind control makes your head explode.
Did support kill?
No, he ended up pulling... I thought he ended up pulling the support one.
Yeah, I think he said support was the only thing that did.
And then regen also triggered it. So a 6 regen was a full heal, and a 1 regen you died.
Oh, playing a Colossal with a late Dower regen would be pretty stupid. Surprised nobody did that. I tried out this combo that I came up with back when Invincible Iron Man came out, and I've been wanting to try it, but the problem is the pieces to do the combo cost so much that I didn't have a good event to use it for. Yeah. And then when I saw this was 600 and didn't have a specific, you have to play this keyword or that, I was like, oh, this is a good time to try out my team. So the combo is Ironmonger 2.0 with Ultron from Chaos War, who creates Ultron drones. And that is flooding the field and making people take unavoidable damage. Meanwhile, I have Phantom X and Iron Pharaoh, who Iron Pharaoh wasn't originally in the team, but I added him since this was 600. Phantom X and Harvey Dent, who from Dark Knight Rises, who has prop control and gives adjacent friendly characters willpower. Well, the only bad thing about Phantom X and Iron Pharaoh both is that they don't have willpower.
You know what rectifies that? Mr. Dent. So
Mr. Dent sits in the middle of them, and Jinx, who also does not have willpower, sits in front of them and gets willpower from Harvey. And that way she can constantly keep a barrier around them. Yeah. They send their things out. They take shots while I'm flooding the board with free drones every turn. And I also threw 3 kind of crappy little 8-point Horde tokens, but they had willpower, which lets them move up easier to make people take damage. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. Although I will say that my second and third opponent never took a damage from my robot bombs, because with Ironmonger 2.0 you only take damage if you kill somebody while you're adjacent to them. So what my second and third opponent did, Drew was my third opponent, what my second and third opponent would do was I would run up, tie somebody up, they would take a different attacker, running shot around the outside, and then shoot people off of each other so that they never had to take damage. So my first opponent took it a few times, second and third one were really smart about their positioning and everything, and kind of picked my guys off and kept scoring a lot of points off of them. I went 3-0, although I should have lost to Drew, because Drew had basically a similar strategy, but better. And I'll let Drew talk about that later and talk about our game. But Drew had a very good team, very well designed team. Actually, the best team I think he's ever made, and I was pretty proud of him. And when I saw the matchup,
I laughed.
I was like, oh shit. He basically did what I built, but better, like slightly more focused and better at what it does. We do the same strategy, but mine's more defensive, his is more offensive. And I should have. I had a slight contingency plan if things kept going bad, but luckily I didn't have to.
Yeah, you didn't.
Didn't have to end up doing it. So I went 3-0. I had a good time with the team. Turned out better than I thought. I'll probably never do it again, but that was cool. Just to think of an idea of like a little combo and then have it work that well as the Harvey Dent ball and the Ultron plus Iron Man 2.0. Like that was a great team. I was really happy with it and had a lot of fun. So, Drew, what were you playing? Tell the nice people.
My team...
Tell the beautiful people.
Hunter mentioned Tellus last week, and my thought was, I want to build a team around Tellus. So, I was like, alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Darkseid on this team. And I'm like thinking to myself, alright, what's Darkseid's one weakness? If you use his outwit, he can be outwitted. But other than that, he doesn't really... His one weakness is blocking terrain. And
indoors blocking,
and elevated. So it's like if I can somehow win map roll against these guys and they're dumb, or if they're dumb enough to pick a map where there's no elevated, I can win. So my team was Darkseid, Tellus, Shadowlass,
who's sick,
who is insanely good. And if you don't know what Shadowlass does, she has a traded smoke cloud. This is traded. And she can put down a smoke cloud where if the square only occupies the smoke cloud, they can't have lines of fire drawn to them. And if opposing characters that only occupy squares with those markers, they can't draw lines of fire at all.
The reason it says only occupy is so that you can't hide your colossal in one square of hindering. Other than that, it's the same as everything else.
But basically. I was like, okay, what's her weakness? She doesn't have willpower. So it's like, alright, there's a cheat piece that has willpower and support, and his name is Dr. Thomas Wayne, and he's from Streets of Gotham.
He gives willpower.
He gives willpower to Jason.
He does what Harvey Dent does, except he heals too.
Yes.
Which he doesn't have problem.
He doesn't have
problem. So those are the kind of trade-offs.
Yeah.
We basically played the only two figures that are cheap and give willpower to other people.
Yeah.
Which was what I was saying. We had very similar strategies, except yours is more offensive.
Yeah.
Thomas Wayne is a boss.
So, yeah, he gets a 14 defend.
Whoa, I never even noticed his trait.
Yeah. He's only 43 points.
Dude, I'm going to start playing the shit out of him.
You never played him?
You never played?
No, I had no idea. Like, I knew he had a really good defense support, but willpower too? Dude, Iron Pharaoh in him.
And then you had one other person, didn't you?
Tachyon.
Yeah. Oh, God. I hated playing Tachyon.
I knew he was going to be fun.
He was good.
Tachyon's a dick. So this team's strategy was, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to have Darkseid shoot through other members of the team.
With his already ridiculous range.
So he basically almost had a 14 range at all times.
So what you mean is your team strategy is to make your opponent kill
themselves. And he could have an 18 range very easily.
Yeah, he could, if I wanted to.
In fact, he did at one point pretty much have an 18 range. And that's not just an 18 range. That's an 18 range through every terrain or character that you put in.
So Hunter's team was very focused on blocking terrain.
Right. I had a barrier team, and Darkseid gives no shits about no barrier.
Unfortunately, I ended up crit missing onto a fucking Navy seaman.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here next to this game that's going on, and I'm like, oh dear God, Drew might actually give Hunter a run for his money and destroy him this game. Like, this is beautiful. And then I see Drew, hands behind head, and his face is down on the table, looking like he's going to cry, and I knew what had happened. I was like, dear God.
I was also like laughing and celebrating in Austin's laugh, too.
It was pretty good.
Oh, God, when those sixes came up.
You mean
or those ones came up, my heart was just so happy, and then it was sad. I was like, oh, I don't want to win like that.
And I was just so defeated, and I was like...
Oh,
my
man.
first game, I didn't even score any points. It went to a 0-0 tie because he didn't want to move. And I didn't want to move on him because, honestly, I would have lost, but... God.
The look of defeat in Drew's eyes was like a compilation of every time he's ever had a look of defeat in his eyes.
So I will say that Shadowlass is very good because what Drew could do is have Tellus, he was TKing out Tachyon with Tellus, having Tachyon run out, do his hypersonic pulse wave, come back, and even if he can't get back full, Shadowlass can throw out Smoke Cloud and keep him safe.
I had one member of the team, the GCPD motorcycle.
Oh yeah, so that you can copy police for everybody.
Yeah.
Too. So
Yeah.
it was pretty nice. Pretty nice, well-designed team.
Speaking of well-designed teams, Austin, what did you play?
Why are you picking on me for playing generics, buddy?
I'm just saying how...
So,
it was a cool team.
I was like, we're playing decap, so I'm going to run generics. I always run generics for decap because it helps leverage out the whole fact that you're losing a chunk of your team. Like, your main tentpole attacker if you roll a crit miss or get crit. So I was like, I'm going to run a bunch of generics, and I was like, what are some good generics in Slosh I want to try out? And of course my mind went to Science Police, and then I realized I'm not that much of a dickhole. So I was like, I'm going to run with Daemonites. So I ran 8 Daemonites and Hellspawn, who I've been wanting to play anyway. But I didn't think I'd get a good opportunity to play that many. So it was a good high point game to play him. Ran Hellspawn at 200, ran 8 Daemonites with him. And what I built was effectively what I call the Daemonite Blender. In my starting area, I'd have all 8 of them surrounding Hellspawn. I'd move Hellspawn a few times, or I picked Realm of Death, because I always want map roll the +9. I mean, come on. I pick Realm of Death. I would surround all 8 Daemonites around Hellspawn, and I'd keep moving Hellspawn and back, and then I'd ignore his willpower so he could take the push. And then once he pushes on that second click, he can double power action to trade. My opponents are pretty much not up on me at that point. It took them forever, or if they are, they're really spread out.
And even if they do, you can just go time up with Daemonites.
Well, yeah, no, that was the thing. So what I did was I double power action, I trade, and since they're really spread out, it actually makes his teleport better. Because I didn't want to swap with them in their starting area, because then Hellspawn's now in a kill box. So what I would do is I'd take their biggest point figure that was 200 or less, because Hellspawn could swap with them. I'd put them in the middle of 8 Daemonites, and I would swing for the hills with blades. And it worked so beautifully. I don't care if they had imperv, if they had super senses, if they had shape change. These little bastards just turn after turn, just shredding into stuff. My opponent first round, he was playing Hammer Industries. I murdered Ironmonger and took my damage. I didn't even care. It was pretty fun. Hellspawn, I will note this. Pretty much every game, Hellspawn got wrecked. After he swaps, his lack of move and attack makes it easy for opponents to maneuver around him, kind of. He's still really hard to kill, especially with that shape change that heals.
Well, either way, he can get away, though.
Yeah, he can
if
get
his
away.
Double power action showing, or if it's not, he always has phasing.
The problem wasn't getting away, it was getting to where he could shoot somebody. He himself, though, was really good. Like, he has a lot of good traits, a lot of good abilities. But the Daemonites really shined. They all have shape change, all 4 clicks. They have a regen on their last click that's free action for -3, and then they can use it normally if they really wanted to. And their charge blades, toughness for most of their dial, phasing towards them, which is actually really helpful, because then you could tie people up like 7 squares through blocking or whatever. Just phase over there and be like, oh, I see that ranged piece you're annoying the crap out of me with here on Realm of Death. Let me go ahead and move through 5 different walls and tie you up. First game went really well. Second game was disappointing. My opponent played Silver Centurion and a really good Avenger support team. Donald Blake and all that jazz, and I'm like, I really don't want to deal with this team. I ended up on Realm of Death so I could slow the hell out of his torpedo at least. And my goal was to put Silver Centurion in the kill box. And oh god, did I put Silver Centurion in the kill box. I swapped with Hellspawn. I had 5 swings with my Daemonites left. Swung on Silver Centurion, put him on his last 2 clicks somewhere. His torpedo triggered with 5 tokens on Hellspawn. Hellspawn hit shape change. So, token gone. Hellspawn healed 1. Silver Centurion's crying himself to sleep with no stats. And then my next turn, he perished. There was nothing. That Silver Centurion got destroyed by that. However, someone who couldn't even hurt freaking Silver Centurion decided to pop him. No, I'm sorry. She would have hit him for 1. Not Silver Star and Hellspawn. Scarlet Witch was going to hit him for 1 because I outwitted her Pinsai. He went and took the shot, rolled a crit hit, killed Hellspawn. My heart and soul sank. I thought maybe I still got this with 8 Demonites, but he had a Doctor Strange with an 18 defend and a prob, and it was just way too hard for them to get in and hit. And he slowly killed off all the Demonites. Last game was against a Validus. Actually, it was kind of funny because Validus has such a high movement that by the time I did hit the ability to swap, and I had decided I was going to swap with that Validus regardless, I was like, I don't care if it's strategically terrible or not, it's going to be fun. And by the time I got to that, he actually got up on me with Validus. It didn't really matter, though, because I outwitted his defense, and the Demonites just charged and tore him apart. Like, Validus's big downfall is that lack of... The fact he can be outwitted is really painful for him. Because his down dial isn't that great. But he is for the traded Pulse Wave. That's what you use him for. But the fact he's a giant, actually...
He could have killed those Demonites in 2 turns.
Yeah.
All of them.
I know. I was afraid of that.
Like, literally.
Yeah, what would you have done if your Demonites missed?
Yeah, if all of them missed and then Pulse Wave, and then...
Then they'd be on their shittier clicks, and then Pulse Wave next turn, they're dead.
Yeah. I Theme Team probbed him out of one of the Pulse Waves, though.
The initial roll
yeah.
to get it, yeah.
The rest of his team I just cleaned up after that because it was a pretty supporty team.
Yeah, man, if you could... I would have wanted him to kill all your
Demonites are really fun, though, and Hellspawn with them is a blast because, as I said, you build that Demonite blender, and it's so much fun to just flip with somebody, especially people who don't know it's coming. Like, you're just like minding your business, like, why are you waiting back there? Let me see your cards, and they still don't really get it for some reason.
Yeah, it was definitely fun drawing 14 squares of range and having people being like, you could hit me? Yeah, I can hit you.
When Austin told me what he was playing, I was like, shit. This is the opposite of what my team wants to face, because by the time the Eva and the Eagle get flying, Hellspawn will switch and totally fuck up my...
I would have been like, I'm going to switch with Iron Pharaoh, then make a shot at the freaking Phantom X.
Yeah.
Alright, swap with Phantom X, shoot at Iron Pharaoh. Because Phantom X has super senses, which is easier to get through with the Demonites.
But anyways.
I didn't get to go up against you, sadly.
So that was it for Wednesday, and then today we played our St. Patrick's Day event. Since next week we are having no clicks because up here it is Indie Comic-Con. It's the first Comic-Con we're having, so we're all excited to go to that.
If any of you nerds are going to be there, Dial H Crew will be wandering around. Just look for a sexy bastard with a ponytail and 2 other guys that are mediocre with him.
I don't know, Drew gets a lot of tail, as I often refer to. This was also Best Build event, Best Build Day, so we played the teams for... Let's pull our finalists up here. Austin played Rod 2112's team.
I literally just picked... I saw that team and I was like, I'm not going to play these 2 on their own, I don't think much, except maybe Bizarro. It's like, I'm going to pick this team because this looks like a powerhouse.
He played Rod 2112's team from HC Realms, which is Bizarro from main set Bizarro with 8 tokens at 200 points, and main set Solomon Grundy also at 200. Drew played the animal theme team from Underneath, who also submits to our Dial Design contest, and it is Craven, Alyosha Craven, Capwolf, Lizard, Beast Boy, starting out with the Pterodactyl, which is the best one to start out for this. And Animal Man from DC 75th, who's also a blast to play. I really want... If nobody picked this team, I always let the boys go first. If they didn't pick this team, I was going to pick his team.
This was my second pick, actually.
I love my animal teams. And then I went... my dude was from Gmail. From Le French Tickler, which is actually a funny name.
That is a great
Pretty
name.
good name.
His team was the Jean Grey well, I guess everybody plays.
The Jean Grey that you freaking...
31-point old Jean Grey who has TK, Split Lip, and Thule Society Priest, and that is so that you have Null's Hammer. Null's Hammer has a better chance of being picked up by either Cerise or Polar Boy.
They pinch Thule Priest.
So I have Cerise and Polar Boy as my 2 secondary attackers. Polar Boy's kind of also like a support, and I'll get into that later. And then you have a 175-point Bizarro, so 7 tokens. And that was my team. the build was at any time at the beginning of your turn, if any of your opponent's figures aren't showing a light green or dark green power, you can pinch them by dealing them 2 unavoidable damage on the spot. The only figure on my team that had clicks that didn't have green on them was the Thule Priest, who has 3 clicks. But the thing is, he's only there
for the relic roll.
For the relic roll. So as long as I get my first try at getting it, and then after that, he gets pinched to death. I will note, I played Drew first round. It took him a couple turns to notice that no green was on there.
We had talked about it before, and I was like, yes.
I played Austin second round. He already knew about it.
It was like guaranteed points, son.
So he pinched him twice and he died. And then my third opponent never realized it the whole game, but killed him anyways with an attack. Jean does have her last non-KO click doesn't have green, but she always got one-shotted right past it.
See, my team was green on every single play.
Yeah, other than that, my guys were all green, and I think Drew's were too. So it was pretty fun. I liked the whole pinch thing, although I should have paid more attention to my opponent's pieces.
I should have too.
Because I don't know if I ever had a
First
chance.
round, I had an opportunity to pinch a bullseye to death and passed it.
So it was pretty fun. I'll let you guys talk about your teams, although I will say that we have the matches record, not all of them, but at least each team played once.
Yeah.
And actually, this was probably the best build as far as videos go, because there were 2 times that we played each other.
Yeah.
Which doesn't usually happen.
Not to mention it was just there were 2 good videos.
Yeah.
Like my last match and that match were
So if
good.
you guys don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you should anyways, but subscribe to our YouTube channel, dilate your Heroclix.
Go do it or we're going to pinch you.
Because when we get these best build matches up, the match between me and Austin
is classic. Like,
was one of the best Heroclix matches of all time.
And I commentated for the good portion of it when Hunter's thinking and zoned out.
And it's a good match, honestly, overall. It's a good, the teams are pretty even.
And there was some good play from both of us. Like, I noticed you were doing some stuff, and I came up with some stuff that back and forth really was...
And then at the end we have... Well, I don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it. Just go watch it.
It is a must-watch. Make sure you watch it all the way to the end, because the ending is like a celebration of just the joy of Heroclix.
I think we have a different term for things.
So, make sure you check it out.
Last match was me and Philbo, too, and that was a good match.
Yeah, that was on camera.
First one
was me and Drew on camera, so that's what I'm saying. We got 2 separate matches that had us playing each other.
Yeah, definitely go watch them. They're fun, and if not just for the commentary. And at where we play it, people yell stuff in the background all the time, so you're going to catch parts of conversations that sound horribly out of context, and it's beautiful.
I'll try to have those up by Monday afternoon, hopefully. After work, I'll get those up. Drew, how'd your matches go, and how was the team overall?
It's pretty good.
You started off on a strong leg, would you say?
No, I lost. First round, I went up against Hunter. He beat me again, the bastard. It was a pretty even match, actually.
And he got map with the animal theme and got Realm of Death, which was bad for my team.
Totally thought you said he got mad, and I was like, Drew, don't get mad, he gets sad.
I got a little mad. I didn't hit a lot of rolls. It felt like Hunter was hitting every single roll, and I wasn't getting any breaks.
God, I would have loved to hit some rolls.
One notable thing was even with the +2 to the relic roll, I still missed my first 3 attempts at picking up the hammer the first game. And then second and third game, I got it on Cerise each time. But on Drew's game, it actually went on Bizarro. So neither Cerise nor Polar Boy had willpower.
Yeah.
So that was a factor a little bit. I did push more than usual.
Yeah, I mean, the next 2 games were kind of stomps. Second game I went up against the same person Austin went up against first round, and I kind of, I don't know. So I love this team because it's so great, because with that pterodactyl, you can carry, move Alyosha up again, carry again.
Yeah, you can get the entire team, or you can get 4 characters across the map for 2 action tokens.
Well, yeah, that Pterodactyl and Alyosha was the combo that was played at Origins last year.
That's what George almost won Origins with, a freaking animal theme
against Heroes for Hire, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is back pre-watch list.
Yeah.
Before things got
And then first round, I noticed when I switched Beast Boy over with Pterodactyl. After I'm done carrying, I can switch him into the
Anniversary Beast Boy.
Anniversary Beast Boy, who has Outsiders.
And 17 plus reflexes and shake change.
With 3 damage.
That's my favorite
10
figure.
attack, 3 damage on his top click.
Favorite figure ever.
He's amazing.
I didn't bring you the T-Rex, bear, cheetah, tiger, because I was looking at their dials. They don't have much green. I brought him the 3 that have all green.
Yeah.
The dolphin, the pterodactyl, because that's the main one he needs, and then the anniversary, because that's what I was like, if this was me, I'd start pterodactyl, switch into Beast Boy, and after second round, like, that's when...
That Outsiders is so good because all my opponents had a bunch of, combat reflexes. Mm-hmm. So what I do is...
that explains why your second game went like that then.
Yeah, because he had Bullseye.
His whole team was combat reflexes.
So I'd switch over combat reflexes. This was a gambling man's team... Because you had, I'd say 4 out of the 5 characters had blades. It's just sick. My third game, oh my gosh, I felt so bad. Because he moved Spiral up and he didn't notice I had Tiger over there. So I moved the Tiger over, and I moved it over, charged, and then I was like, alright, roll, he probbed me, hit it again. I blazed for 6. It nearly killed that Spiral. Honestly, and then he tried swinging on the lion, and then crit missed.
You know what I've started doing recently? Saving my probs from attacks for the blades roll.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, if they have 2 damage or whatever, people are going to go for the blades no matter what. If it's something that's going to hit a 5 or a 6, pretty commonly, I'll actually save it and then prob the blades instead. Because it really does suck to lose a high point character to a 6 on blades.
Gulyadokin is a freaking beast. He does work for me every month when we do freaking...
He's free. He's 9 attack.
He's not a donkey because he gets work done.
1 free action every turn.
I know, 1 free action every turn.
Can blades both times in the turn. He's so good.
He's so stupid.
My team doesn't die. I just want to put that out there. The games that I did have pretty much almost ran to time.
I thought Austin's team was unbeatable, to be totally honest.
And if not for bad plays on my part, honestly, if I really knew what I was doing with this team, there's no way. There were some good opportunities for me to just wreck.
When I said that was the first best build submitted, and I was like, God dang it, nobody picked this team. I will never build this team.
Hunter's like, guys, go pick your best builds, and I'm like, I'm playing this team. He's like, damn it.
Why would you do it?
Grundy's really good. My problem with... Grundy gets to pick out wit at the beginning of turn. He gets tokens as he fights. He starts with 3, and after he dies, he goes to click 9, and then he heals 1 for each token, and you remove all the tokens. So as long as you're hitting for at least 1 damage, each time he resurrects, he's going to come back. So, it doesn't say once per game.
I know. I was pulling him up.
I saw a shriveled eyebrow.
I always thought it was once per game too, but Austin came back twice on me, and I read it, and he can do it. So it's just when.
Actually, you don't have to deal damage; it's on hit.
Yep, it's just hit. So you don't even have to. He's got 4s and 3s.
I know, but I'm just saying.
If they hit imperv or whatever, you'd still get a token.
This guy would be so.
He's
sick.
really good. If he's standing in hindering or water, he heals 1 at the beginning of turn.
Oh, mother love! You know what?
Huh?
I definitely had the most points then, anyways. I would have got 200. Wouldn't I get an extra 200 for killing Grundy? Or no, it would be KO.
Yeah, it would be KO.
Okay, never mind. You don't get extra points.
Yeah,
for
it
killing.
says instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, Grundy's really good. He suffers from one problem that a lot of big beefers do, and that is outwit really tears him up. And, of course, penetrating damage really tears into him. He does have 3 clicks of invincible, which helps with the penetrating problem. And then, my last game, for instance, my opponent had a good exploit weakness character with super strength. Blasted him for 6 right out the gate, and then picked up an object, blasted him for 4. And it threw him on his last click, and he finished him off really easily. So I wasted all my tokens for rezzing right there. And then the next turn, he just did the same thing again. But the Grundy is really, really good if you play him smart, if you keep him in hindering as often as possible, and kind of play him... I want to say play him a little slow. He's got a short charge range, which does kind of hurt him. He has some spotted sidestep in there. But the one thing to remember is the beginning of turn, you can heal him 1. You can sidestep before doing that. So what I did catch one opponent with was sidestepped and then healed and then did flurry. Because sidestep's free action, of course. Mm-hmm. So I sidestepped him up onto flurry, smacked twice, got 2 tokens. He's a really good piece. At 200, he's a little risky, I think. Like, I wouldn't revolve a whole team around Grundy. But he's a fun one for these big point games. I'm definitely looking forward to playing him again. Bizarro, on the other hand, is retarded. That piece, I knew he was going to be bad. I really wasn't expecting it to be this bad. Really, the only thing I can think of that can keep him down well is Outwit. A lot of Outwit.
Even then?
Like, well, no, because he randomizes at beginning of turn. Yeah. So unless he lands on the same thing. Gosh, dang.
So, my team was very well balanced, very well constructed. Now, the person didn't give me any tips on what to do, so I had to figure it out for myself. But once I started playing around, especially after the first game, I figured out so many tricks. Whether they were intended or not, I figured out so many tricks with this team.
I do want to say, we're not going to talk about our match. We're going to make them go to YouTube and watch it because it's just too good to spoil.
I'm definitely not going to spoil it. So, Polar Boy was a figure I wanted to try. The main reason I picked this team was...
Told you it was legit.
I really wasn't expecting him to be as good as he was.
Well, this team really got the best out of it.
Yeah.
It was Polar Boy and Bizarro and Cerise are 3 figures I've been wanting to play really bad, and they're all 3 solid.
I really like Cerise.
So I picked all 3 of them.
Cerise is stupid, honestly.
What I would do, which was really cool, I figured out even the first game against Drew, I would move Cerise up and carry this Thule Priest, sit on the hammer. I get the free action, try to pick it up because I have Split Lip on my team. Split Lip gives me +1, the adjacent Priest gives me +1. I roll a 1. So, I use Jean to TK Cerise off of the hammer square, move her over, Polar Boy flies over, sits on the hammer, okay, try to pick up, miss. Oh, Polar Boy has sidestep. I'll sidestep off of the hammer square, Bizarro will fly up and try to pick it up. So, on the first turn, I was set. I had figured out a way that everybody is going to get a chance to pick up the hammer before Duel Society gets pinched to death like Austin did.
Pinch.
So, first game, everybody failed it. Bizarro finally picked it up.
It was pretty funny.
Second and third, Cerise got it first try, and that made a huge difference.
Oh yeah, Cerise is a much different monster with willpower.
Although on me and Austin's turn, I took a game, I forgot it for at least half the game that she had.
It's a beautiful moment in the video too, is the realization on your face when you realize you.
Luckily, she has running shot already for the first 2 or 3 clicks, 2 clicks anyways. But
it did affect the last few turns.
It affected me pushing. What I also realized is with the Asgardian ATA on Split Lip, the Police team ability on Cerise, and the Superman enemy team ability on Bizarro, and Polar Boy having Sidestep, I figured out I took so much advantage of Sidestep and Wildcard abuse with this team. Because Polar Boy can copy Asgardian. When he goes to make an attack, he copies Asgardian so that he gets willpower on top click. Whenever he needs to provide police for somebody, he just copies that, sidesteps over if he needs to be in a certain position or whatever.
Police and enhancement.
Yeah, he has enhancement on top of that. Cerise also has enhancement, and Split Lip has enhancement. So I have 3 enhancements on my team. I have 2. Cerise has penetrating but low damage output, so with the 2 enhancements from Split Lip and Polar Boy, she's buffing
and
you
unlocked
up.
Sidestep's easy for carrying with him.
Yeah, and the 2 polices, by the way, and the police from Polar Boy, and then I would copy Superman enemy with Bizarro and Polar Boy together and Outwit. So it was just like I had so many options with this team, and then there was even a time on me and Drew's game where I used his barrier instead of his amazing end cap, which against Austin's team, I was like, okay, I see what Austin's got. My best thing is to hit him with end cap with Polar Boy and to smoke Grundy with Cerise and enhancements and police balls as much as I can for penetrating damage. Because I had looked at Grundy's dial and I was like, if I hit him for 4 pin, he'll stay on impervious.
Honestly, had you hit more of those end caps, it would have been game over for me.
Yeah, I only hit it once.
Yeah, you only hit it once, but had you hit it some of the other times, it would have definitely been a game over.
Polar Boy is really good and really, really fun, and I was very happy with it.
Could you have copied Asgardian?
Yeah,
you did.
It's not uncopyable.
I know. Well, I didn't know if it was uncopyable or if there was like wording on it that prevented it from working on.
Mm-mm.
You copied Asgardian in our game, yeah.
Yeah. I would use Asgardian when he went to make an attack, because when he makes attack, he doesn't need Superman enemy or need police. And Superman Enemy is a great one to use with wild cards, especially in this situation, because it only applies right when you make the outwit. And then after that, he can switch to police, and then somebody can take a shot on the outwitted person and get the police buff.
Yeah, it's like when I ran Superman Enemy from the Nowhere Soldiers on that Nowhere team. Like, Superman Enemy, I think, is one of the more underrated team abilities that people don't realize is as good as it is when you have it played.
It's awesome. I went 3-0. I had a good time with this team. Bizarro is stupidly good. Bizarro is extreme. Now, granted, this wasn't like a hyper competitive where everybody's bringing the top of upper echelon pieces, but we'll talk about Bizarro in the main topic, probably most likely. And
no, we're talking about. There's no probably most likely. We are talking about that.
He's
asshole.
really good.
I played him, and we're talking about that asshole.
So, congratulations to the Le French Tickler. I'll be contacting you on Gmail and seeing what kind of action chips you want. To those listeners who won our January dial design and best build contest. If you haven't received your tokens yet, don't worry. I'm literally making them this week. I know it's been a long time, but I like to do 2 months at a time because it saves me a lot of time because these take a long time to make. So what I was doing was waiting to see who won this and waiting to see who won dial design, which we will announce here in a few minutes, and then contact them and then make all of them at the same time. Saves me.
Henry Ford invented the assembly line for a reason.
It saves me a lot of time by doing that.
I ain't getting on that.
It's the same thing like with painting minis. Like, it's just one of those things that
you like to do a bunch at a time.
Yeah, if you do it one at a time, it takes forever.
So that's it for what we play. Let's move to the main topic. So like we said, we're going to talk about the state of the meta with the recent ROCs. Now, what we've seen and what's been awesome and really fun with these ROCs, first of all, the super qualifiers are getting more frequent now. In March, there's literally at least one, if not two, every freaking weekend. Like,
oh dear God!
Like big tournaments.
We're becoming Magic level.
Yeah, it's getting pretty popular. The ROC is, and what we've seen is a great diverse meta. We've seen so many different teams in top 16s, even crazy ones like the one in Canada. One of them was Ice Superman plus McCran Crystal plus Laura Lorvan, and it got like top 16.
I was gonna say, compare this to last year's meta around the same time. We had Heroes for Hire and Justice League.
So watch list successful. I think we all know that by now. We still have seen team bases do well. In fact, a friend of the show and a friend, Edward Shelton, got second.
Let's just pitch the quarry.
Got second with Justice League team base. We've seen New Mutants do really well. We've seen
I'm actually I expected
Hellfire Club.
Yeah,
3 separate times we've seen Hellfire Club in the top 3. So we know the team bases are still viable,
but they're not dominating.
But they're not dominating at all,
which is where they should be.
And they're kind of hard to play and do really well with.
Yeah, because the people who are winning with them they're literally using them like a Swiss Army knife. Like, these aren't people who are like, I'm going to cross the board, kill 2 people first turn.
Yeah, this isn't your grandma's team base.
This ain't your Justice League vanilla here.
Other than that, Ghost Rider has
ice cream plate.
Ghost Rider and Heroes for Hire is still viable because we've seen it in top 16s, we've seen it in top 8s. In fact, the one last week we saw it in top 8, and the one the week before that we saw it in top 8. So while it's not dominating, he still is efficient and still a legitimate threat, which is what that's what
the watch list should have done.
Watch list success.
It wasn't meant to crush figures.
Correct. We've even seen Iron Fit teams that use White Suit Iron Fist with the Heroes for Hire ATA helping him. Him being the only Heroes for Hire is still good. Brother Voodoo is the only piece that's outright straight dominated.
Coincidentally, he's the only one on the watch list who didn't get changed.
If the event, I've noticed, if the event doesn't allow resources, it's Brother Voodoo on almost every team.
Yeah.
If it does, then it's kind of a mix because other pieces get much better with resources than he does. But in a world with no resources, Brother Voodoo is king.
So all you people who are like, I wish they never had any resources, would you rather live in a world run by Brother Voodoo?
Shuma and Mole Man, either with Book of Skulls or especially with Power Plant, we've seen win 2 tournaments now and get top 3 in
it's a damn good team.
4.
It's silly.
Highfather's going to change that though, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Will we?
Iron Man, 001 Iron Man, which is a piece we've talked about a lot, and Cyclops from the AVX
Have they been seen play?
have both made lots of good showings. In fact, Cyclops just won a tournament, the Canada tournament this weekend, which I think was the most competitive and the best one so far. The Canada one this past week.
I just want to say once again, I was going to say last year, I wouldn't have dreamed that Iron Man would have made a meta team. He's good, but he's good top end figure. He's not
him and Cyclops both have made several top 8 showings, multiple top 8.
They're nuts. They're both nuts.
Mixes of Mystical. Mystical is still the best theme team.
Yeah, it's got to be.
But there's a good variant on. First of all, you're almost always gonna have Brother Voodoo. There's sometimes it's 50-point Switch, sometimes it's Enchantress. 100-point Thor from the AVX starter even won a tournament, a no tactics tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no tactics. Okay.
He's still good, anyways. It was 2 Enchantresses, 100-point Thor, and I can't remember who the other 100-point was. That got first about a month ago, and so other 30-point Loki is still on a lot of good teams.
Great.
Iron Pharaoh now is Iron Pharaoh. When Phantom X first came out, I said Phantom X he's not going to dominate, but you need to plan for him. And then about a month and a half later, they made Iron Pharaoh, and now nobody gives a shit about Phantom X because Pharaoh is Phantom X but better.
Yeah, cheaper.
Because
that's another big part of it.
His token
and cheaper because his token can't be hit. His token sees through everything, which is Phantom X's one problem if you don't run night vision goggles on him.
That's a pain in the ass to get enough night vision goggles for it.
And his outwit comes from the Iron Pharaoh and not from Eva. Whereas Eva can be outwitted or killed to get rid of the outwit. Pharaoh's outwit comes from him himself, so you got to get all the way to him. And he has good keywords. So that's the reason that Pharaoh has been doing really well. He's another one, while I wouldn't say dominating, like I would say Brother Voodoo is dominating, I would say that I'll at least say that he's showing up quite a bit.
I've got 2 figures to ask about, actually. Have we been seeing any LE Absorbing Mans?
Once or twice in top 16s. Definitely not a recurrent.
And then...
sorry, one real quick thing. Another thing about Iron Pharaoh, mystical keyword. All right, go ahead.
And the other figure I was going to ask about was Iron Paladin. I think he was mostly being run as a counter to Absorbing Man, but...
Yep, absolutely.
If Absorbing Man's not making top 16, then Iron Paladin...
Right.
Well, Iron Paladin's not bad for his point. It's just that he was good because he was a silver.
He's not bad, but I don't think he's meta worthy.
Silver Centurion has, while he hasn't, I don't think, gotten first, he always seems to be hanging around. There's always one in top 16.
He's that douchebag that's just stalking you.
He never dominates, but there's always at least one in top 16.
He's always peeking in the windows.
He's that friend you don't like having around, but he's there.
One person that we haven't seen...
Why are you looking at me, Drew?
One person I haven't seen as much as I thought we would still be seeing is M10 Iron Man.
Yeah.
But I think and I've talked with the guys on the quarry about a lot lately, is it seems like with every new thing that comes out, M10 Iron Man loses a little bit of stock.
Yep.
Number one was the power plant, and having so many outwits readily available, and having end-cap, ring, and having other stuff that makes Iron Man easier to take down. Then you have all the more anti-resource and relic stuff that is already coming out. Especially, this was even before Slosh. Now with Slosh coming out, M10 Iron Man stock keeps getting lower and lower and lower. In Slosh, you have 5 different flavors of anti-resource stuff. Whereas Iron Man is an expensive, albeit the best, expensive way to counter it.
And there is one thing I would like to point out about Slosh that is meta important that I think a lot of people don't realize. The whole damn set's wild cards. Which that also, it doesn't just increase the stock of Slosh, it affects the rest of your team, because M10 Iron Man doesn't have a team ability copy except Avengers, and no one really wants that one. What you want are good, if your big piece is going to be taking up that much of your team, you want a good team ability on it to be grabbing. And when you're taking up 125 points of your 300-point team, you have to find something to fill in there to wild card off of.
Yeah. So those are kind of the big players, but like I said, it's been, if you think, I just listed at least a dozen.
Well, how many ROCs have been
different?
Slosh?
None yet.
Except the one that Harry just played in.
Yeah, the one that Harry just played in Kentucky is the first one.
Hi, Harry.
And that's why we want to do this tonight and talk about how we think Slosh is going to affect things and make predictions.
We're going to know tomorrow what it's going to be.
Yeah, before we actually know. And again, we're not going to know just from one tournament. We'll know after a few months of people developing.
It's going to warp for a few weeks.
People have to develop this tech and master it. So what we're going to do is talk about Slosh figures that we think will make an impact on the meta, and what impact will they make. Is this figure a... Oh, and also another thing, Split Lip in the book, of course, is still pretty viable.
Yeah.
Craven and Lizard, Alyosha and Lizard with book, Jungle Book, as I call it, is still doing pretty solidly when it is played.
That is a great build name for that.
That's what I started.
Jungle Book, yeah.
It still does pretty well when it's played.
We totally need the Magic Scenes thing where they just start naming stuff crap like that. Because that's the only downfall, is like these teams don't have nicknames, and that's part of the fun of it.
So... we'll go one at a time, mention a piece that we think is going to affect the meta, and then why we think why we think that we are justified in saying so, and then what other pieces that are already meta staples, kind of the ones that I just talked about, does it affect? How does it affect it? I'll start off with an easy one: Science Police. Science Police punishes you for taking extra free actions. Well, right now,
moving and attacking.
Right, or moving and attacking. Right now, what's the name of the game? Free actions
and moving and attack.
And moving and attacking. Why? Book of the Skulls. Heroes for Hire. Even though it's not as dominant as it was, it's still a staple. Team bases totally shits on team bases. What's up?
Nothing. I just realized something. But keep going.
Oh. Team bases, and then, like Austin said, move and attack.
But it also shuts down Perplex and Outwit too, which is another thing.
To an extent, if they're careless about how they do it.
Yeah.
And it also creates bad pacing situations for the opponent. They have to work around the Science Police.
Yeah,
and
it's a 45-point figure that does.
Yeah, a 45-point figure with a good team ability that
which,
it's giving
once again,
to
as we
your
were talking
team,
about,
and a pretty solid-ish dial for its point value too. So that's a piece that I think it's not going to totally dominate. It's not going to be on everybody's team.
But it's one you're going to see pop up on quite a few.
Yeah, you will see it, and those are the things that it kind of hurts. It hurts hammer teams because what's a free action? Dropping and picking up the hammer. If you're Split Lip, both of those, are free actions.
Go to Split Lip real quick.
What does the book provide?
There's an interaction I want to see.
What does the book provide in general? Move and attack. What does Science Police hurt? Move and attack. So, I feel like Science Police especially hurts the book, and it also hurts the other big one. Shuma and Mole Man. It hurts that too, because Shuma does his thing, and then if you want to do Mole Man on top of that, you're going to take damage afterwards.
I was double checking because I didn't know if his free action was mandatory to replace the power action, because it means you can power action to pick him up still. So if you wanted to get around it without taking the unavoidable, you could power action.
But effectively, if you do that,
you're slowing your game down.
Science Police just paid for his points, right?
Oh my gosh.
So, Drew, you want to go next?
Cheetah Prime.
Really?
Look her up.
Why do you think she's going to affect the meta, though?
I don't think she's going to affect the meta, but I just saw
That's what the discussion is, though.
I know, but
it's okay.
I think she might be. Look at her movement ability. When she can use lead climb. When she resolves a move action, you may give her a close combat action as a free action. Who gives moves actions for free?
Oh yeah, sure.
Craven.
That's good.
Craven.
That is a good point, though.
That's a good little combo. Yeah, so that could be in addition to the Jungle Book team.
And
no, they're both primes.
What does she ignore on movement?
Everything, pretty much.
Characters. Can't play her and Craven. Now I'm sad because I was going to say that is actually a really good combo.
Yeah.
Oh, Craven's a prime. Shit.
You had a good idea.
Damn it, man. Damn it.
You had a good idea going.
Yeah.
Austin?
I think it's a pretty obvious one. White Queen.
Yeah, and she is kind of the same vein of Science Police.
She
is how she's going to affect.
But the thing is, she affects something else too. For almost double the points.
You mean White Witch?
Or White Witch, sorry, not White Queen. We just get out of Wolverine the X-Men with White Witch, or White Queen and Black Queen, and now we get White Witch and Black
I'm
Witch.
not confused at all. I think you're just...
Okay, so White Witch on her own, if you take away most of her traits and everything, she's an okay 87-point piece. Like, with just the wild card and the dial she has. She's a good support piece. 7 range in cap into precision strike, shape change into support. And then you throw in her movement ability and her traits, and she becomes much more of a monster. She's got the mystical keyword, which we just got done talking about, where that's one of the bigger ones people are running. Mm-hmm. She ignores the Mystic's team ability as a trait. Sorry. Ignores the Mystic's team ability as a trait, which is something you see a lot of. It's a common wildcard thing. Everyone's running it in some form. She has a majorly viable promotion, which is very rare. If she hits an opposing character that has mystical keyword, once again, common, or a resource, very common, she gets a token and then she rolls a d6. On a 7 or higher, +1 for each token, you can raise it for Black Queen, which is much more expensive.
Almost a full 100 points more.
Yeah. And
promotes on the same number and has lots of damage dealing potential.
And we were just talking about this earlier. It's damages, so in cap, if they have 2 tokens, will trigger because it damages them, and she's the one dealing the damage.
But why are people playing her, Austin?
They're playing her for that movement ability, Drewster. Which this is not just a silver bullet to one thing that's defined the meta since the beginning. This is a silver bullet to 2 things that have defined the meta since the beginning. That is free actions and combat value modification. She is an Outsiders that affects the entire opposing team for a power action with no restrictions.
Or what else can you do?
Or, as a free action, your opponents can't be given more than 1 free action a turn. So while not as potent as Science Police, which shuts down...
Which gives
damage, but also includes the first free action they take after a power action. She shuts down extra free action.
She completely shits on animal teams.
So you want to perplex your move on attack up and then charge in? No, it won't happen.
Nah.
You want to drop that free quake and then free action pick up your split? Not gonna happen.
For 87 points. For 87 points, she's a wild card on top of that, a medic. I mean, I don't see how she won't. She's at a perfect point value to find her way into teams. Mm-hmm. That last 13 honors, I don't want to say super fillable, but I mean, if you could run her in a 13-point belt, and then you'd have 200 points left for whatever the hell you wanted, and put the belt on whatever else you want. She's an awesome piece. I think she is literally, in Magic, they say things are built for meta. She is built for meta. That is what she was designed for.
Quite a bit of this set is built for meta. I won't get into that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any capability that she's not going to end up on a lot of teams.
I'll say that this piece I do expect to see more play than the other ones that we're talking about. I feel like this piece, Science Police will have its day for a little while. And Bizarro will have his day for a little while.
Why would you spoil them?
I feel everybody knows what I'm talking about. I feel like White Witch is going to be here for the long haul.
Yeah.
And it's because of the movement ability, and it's because of that mystical keyword.
She reigns in the future, effectively, which is nice. But the other thing is, when we're talking about... Oh, man, I lost my train of thought now. No, never mind, just continue. I'll get back to her later.
I'm going to go with one you may not think I would mention, and it's Tellus. And I don't think Tellus is going to be a dominant piece, but I think he has
potential.
He has megatons of potential. I think he will, on some of these super qualifier ROCs, you're going to see him in some top 16 placings for sure. Is he going to win everyone? No. But is he going to be there, and is he something to toy around with when you're making your teams? Yes.
He's what the Magic players call a combo piece.
Yeah.
He himself is not what defines it. It's what he interacts with.
He's the linchpin that helps other pieces that we have in the game right now together to make stupid combos. And once people figure out what the best ones for that is, shit's going to get real.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So the thing about Tellus is, not only does he give you the trait, which is what basically that's the thing that's giving you the combos. All my friends within 4 squares of Tellus can draw a line of fire and count squares from each other.
If they want to waste time on him, they're screwing themselves up.
That's what he's for. Yeah, if they want to focus fire him, okay, they just wasted a whole lot of time going after him instead of the rest of your team.
Even if they focus fire him, I mean, look at his dial. You have to get through an energy shield, super sense, toughness, and I do not see him getting one shot really.
It's going to be pretty tough, and if you don't,
he goes on 18 defend, and still has the trait while it's
active. And possibly with prob. But the other thing I really like about Tellus is a couple things. Wild card, number 1. And then number 2 is TK and prob control together. And that is not only did I come here to bring you this amazing power that has infinite possibilities.
Tellus steps through the portal.
I'm
going to
give you
and says, I'm
going to give you two things that no team that you can design isn't better with, like TK and Prob. Like, when do you not want TK and
You would pay 40 points for TK, you'd pay 40 points for Prob. You'd pay 80, get both, and all the extra crap.
Yeah.
This man's value, right, Drewster?
I love him quite a bit.
This is like robbing a freaking register at a...
Okay, so...
Drewster.
Well, you want to just get the obvious out of the way.
Go ahead, buddy.
Alright. Fucking Bizarro.
Bizarro!
Calm down.
This guy.
You're the one who played him.
I know, I did not expect him to be as...
Yeah,
and I've told Hunter that. I didn't think Bizarro was going to be as good
what
as he
did you
was.
fucking expect, okay?
Hunter played him too. Don't just drill me with this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, listen. When we talk about stupid, there's so much shit.
He's a horde token and a piece.
Once in a while, there's a piece that comes along that I honestly think, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, Bizarro, Web of Spider-Man Nightcrawler, fucking White Lantern Flash, other shit. What were they thinking? Bizarro, he's never terrible. He's never terrible.
The bad thing I always say about him is when you build a meta level team, you want it to be focused. You want to know, you want to plan ahead. He doesn't really allow you to do that, but what he does allow you to do is
annoy the shit out of your opponent for 50 points.
First of all, you got the obvious, you have to hit me a bajillion times instead of hitting me once or twice. Meanwhile, I can come after you pretty easily.
Yeah.
Even on the click that he doesn't have hypersonic or charge, he at least has sidestep.
Yeah.
Another thing to note, you can sidestep before you roll his change into another click.
Which I took full advantage of tonight.
So if you're on sidestep and it's beneficial to you at the moment, and he automatically breaks away from characters, and it's beneficial to you at the moment, go ahead and sidestep to where you want to go, and then roll your dice.
So consider sidestep I don't have movement attack this turn, but I get to move 2 extra squares on top of it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to list the things that makes Bizarro stupid. First of all, you can play him at an extremely flexible point value. 25, 50, 75, 100.
And that really, for me, that's the thing that makes me know that he'll be played, is the ease of...
He can fit on any team.
Imagine this. What you're not looking at is one figure here. You're literally looking at freaking 12 different figures at various point values.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Any of those 1 point values could have made meta with the effects it has.
There are times,
But the option of any of them.
Yeah. There are times that this Bizarro has super senses and shape change, which, by the way, people play Gauntlet just for that. Is super senses and shape change. There are points when he has impervious. There are points where he has an 8 attack, but there are points where he has a 12 attack. Not to mention the fact that if he's healed, you get more tokens.
2 out of the 3 times he has Exploit or Ranged Combat Expert, which is good for getting through reducers, or Invincible. RCE is a good way to get through Invincible to a point and get an extra damage out of that. A lot of people don't realize that the CC and RCE are actually good counters for that. Effectively, the way he's set up is that he has... 1 click is Hypersonic Super Strength, Super Senses, Shape Change, which is a more defensive click, I think it's safe to say. Hypersonic allows you to go in, hit, get around a corner, and then if they do get up to you, Shape Change, Super Senses.
Which is dumb.
He then has a Charge, Super Strength, Super Senses Exploit, which is a major offensive click. You pick up an object, all of a sudden he's swinging for 3 to 5 freaking... he's 3 damage the whole time. You're always swinging for 5 Exploit with him if you have a heavy object. And then you have his Sidestep, Imperv, Quake, Ranged Combat Expert click, which is a ranged click, really.
And remember, he breaks away for free. So you sidestep away, RCE, boom. Put it on whatever you want to put it on.
And that's the thing is, while you don't have control over it, if you had control over it, this would literally be like the most broken piece ever. But even though you don't have control over it, you can usually find a good use out of any of those clicks. Like if you're... I'm sorry. If keep tapping the table. It's habit.
Bag talk.
I'm gonna have Drew just start bag tagging you every time.
Please don't. Not again.
He's used to it.
No matter what click you land on, if you're smart about it, and I think that's part of what made our game really good, is no matter what click you land on, if you know what you're doing and you really can take advantage of the powers, you will find a way to make that damn click work.
Yeah.
And then once again, a good ATA to copy, or a good TA to copy for.
So, to me, I think, what are the things in the current meta that we just discussed that he is good against, and what are some things that may hurt him a little bit? I think the main and only one that I can outright say hurts him is another piece from the set that we'll talk about in Highfather.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't feel like he has too many natural predators. Swarm teams.
I would say Science Police to a point, because it does slow him down, and he's already a slow figure. Because his speed values do hurt.
Yeah.
But the inability to use charge hypersonic and then sometimes post sidestep does actually slow him down a bit. And then I wouldn't say in the same vein with White Witch, though, because White Witch isn't really... she affects extra free actions, which he never really gets.
I will say, though, I don't mind the Science Police matchup with this guy because he's already really hard to damage. It'd be the same thing as facing a Mystics team to me. Like, I don't think... I wouldn't worry too much about Science Police.
It's not a focus. It's something that weakens him a little bit, though.
Let's see. Other than that, I don't really think he has any what I would call natural predators. Other than swarm teams with Book. But the thing is, with White Witch coming out, that's going to kind of scare some of them away. So it's like he's not going to have...
You know who would beat the crap out of this guy? Old team basis.
Well, what I was going to say...
beat the crap out of everything. That was the fucking...
I remember what I was going to say with White Witch. The thing is, the meta does these ebbs and flows, where one strategy will become dominant, so people start running the counter. And this is like in any game. You look at Magic, you look at any competitive game like this, even fighting games. One strategy gets predominantly powerful, so the counters get predominantly powerful, so it kind of ebbs and people stop playing it. Well, then another strategy will pick up in the place like, I'm trying to think of a good example here. Like, if White Witch starts getting played a bunch, people are going to stop playing free actions and combat values as much, and they're going to go for more straightforward combat pieces. Well, then once people start playing straightforward combat pieces to counter that, stuff's going to come in that can take advantage of that.
They'll build, like, Green Lantern cannons. Like, Green Lantern tanks will come back again.
Yeah.
Like, you'll have somebody who carries your whole swarm in, and then next turn, everybody blasts the fuck out of White Witch. Oh, now we can do whatever we want. Like... It'll be a never-ending cycle, which is what's great.
And that's what I like about these weekly tournaments, though, is that, or the almost weekly tournaments with the ROC, is that the metagame is ebbing and flowing a lot more often than it was with just Gen Con and Origins.
Correct.
And that's nice to see, actually, because that's the symbol of a healthy competitive game, is when your game can shift constantly and doesn't lock into one strategy.
One thing that I think really the Bizarro is going to affect is we've seen Shuma dominate when he's played, and I think he shits all over other one-man. He is the one-man army. He is the superior one-man army.
That's what I was going to say when I played him today. It's kind of funny because with him, I wanted to focus weaker figures first, because they could get my tokens off easy. And so I wanted my opponent to have less chances to get my tokens away. Which is kind of weird to be playing such a big, expensive figure and be focusing the little guys instead of the 6 damage exploiter or something like that.
Because you don't care about how hard you get hit. You care about multiple hits.
And my last opponent kept spawning objects and smacking me. He's like, I don't even know why I'm doing this at this point.
I think that's the main thing that he affects with everything in the current metagame. I think it's Shuma.
Yeah.
I think it hurts Shuma quite a bit.
We were having a discussion earlier about this set and how it should... We were thinking... You said Edward thought it was going to come out earlier or something?
Well, the thing is, and other people have said it too.
Yeah, I've heard the rumor.
SLOSH was supposed to come out... The order was basically... I may be mixing it up a little bit, but it was supposed to be Teen Titans, SLOSH, then Iron Man, and then Wolverine. Wolverine's supposed to be the later one, which kind of makes sense when you see how many problems they had when they released it early. But
you know what this guy really craps on is Alpha Strike, and it was pretty Alpha Strike heavy a while ago.
You know what makes...
True. Very true.
Yeah. What I was going to say is what makes Wolverine seem to me like it should have come after Iron Man was Wolverine had a ton of penetrating damage, whereas Iron Man had a ton of reducers. And then you look at that pattern, you do kind of, when you organize the sets like that, you see how the counters were supposed to line up.
Yeah, but you come up and you make this big attack, and you're like, alright, I'm going to own this guy. 1 damage, there goes a token.
What he is, effectively, is a variable horde token. And that's literally, like, strip away everything else, that is what he is. You pay 25 points for each horde token on the stack. You don't have to worry about stacking and unstacking them. And they have an almost guaranteed awesome dial no matter what you really land on.
The one thing I think in the meta that has an okay matchup with him, aside from Highfather, who just totally shuts him down if you play a one-man army, is team bases. Because they also have ways of generating extra clicks by using solo advantage.
Definitely.
So they also can pop out more attackers, and then you have to worry about the base soaking damage too. So while they have to hit Bizarro a lot as well, of course, they also have ways of creating more problems for Bizarro and ways to kind of rush him down and, like you said, have multiple shots at taking him. And they can kind of pick what's best for him. Oh, shit, he has super senses and shape change.
Let me pop off that Precision Strike Cyclops.
Yeah, or I'll pop off Sunspot and Running Shot Pulse Wave, back here.
Or Magma and poison him to death.
Yeah, he's on... Yeah, I was going to say Poison is a good one. Or just whoever has the Outwit, Impervious. Because with him, when he's on that Impervious click, I think that's the best click to go after him. I think you either have Psychic Blast or Exploit, you hit him hard, or if you have Outwit, you outwit it and you go after him.
Outwit is a big weakness of him, and we don't see Power Cosmic as common. Like, people run Gauntlet. I don't know if we'll see...
Gauntlet's, A, it's about to die completely because it's not as good anymore.
And
B, it's going to rotate out, so we don't really have to worry about it.
But I don't see, even until then, though, I don't think we'll see people running Bizarro at high points with Gauntlet, because that's way too much in one basket. And if it's him versus M10 Iron Man, that game will never end.
Yeah, honestly, I think he's better with hammers, too, so...
He needs the attack value.
See, that's the thing about him. Give me a pin. That's the thing about him, is that I feel like he shouldn't be allowed to heal. I feel like he's already really hard to take down as it is. If you give him Steel Energy from a source, especially from...
Oh, I forgot about Steel Energy on Gauntlet.
Especially from Anger's Hammer... and then give him Split Lip and give him Quake drops on top of that, with his Sidestep Auto Breakaway, I feel like he will never die. How do you kill him? How do you kill him without Highfather not letting him play? I just don't think you can. I'm not saying he's going to dominate, because I feel like they put the checks and balances in for him when they put in Highfather. I feel like they put him in. So, Drew, who's your next one? Or that was yours, Austin?
Yeah. Lydia. I don't think we'll see a ton of her. I'm going to say that straight out. I do think we'll see... she's kind of in the White Witch situation. She's in the same point range. She's a support piece to a point. But her capability and her anti-resourceness is really good against specific resources, like Gauntlet, for instance. Okay, your opponent is Bizarro dumb and runs Bizarro and an Infinity Gauntlet, right? At 250 or whatever. You run Lydia. You steal his Soul Gem. And he loses Power Cosmic, so he got 5 gems now. You just gutted that strategy on that team. And I think that's where she comes in, is she is a hard silver bullet. She's an expensive risk if your opponent's not running a good resource. Mm-hmm. But your ability to steal a cow from a utility belt, a Soul Gem from a Gauntlet...
Sure, it's stealth.
Well, no, you can just steal to keep them from having stealth.
Oh, I see what you're
saying. Or night vision goggles or whatever from there. Whatever. Or... Hammer, steal Anger's Hammer. Anger's Hammer is going to be a huge problem. Like, we already know how good the book is. I think when people more and more start realizing the stupid combos, Anger's Hammer and Shuma is one of them that I don't know if people are running at the moment, but...
Well, the thing is, power plant's so much better with him because of his maximum range.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
His options.
Yeah. She's good for 79 points. Unlike White Witch to a point, I feel like her dial is a little less than what you get for White Witch for the points. And she's not a wild card.
But when you put that Relic auto-assign on top of it, she becomes way more potential. She also has Indom. She has Stealth. We talked about her a little bit when we did our Sealed. The thing I like about her is she at least provides Smoke Cloud and a Taxi for your team.
Yeah.
And she goes on to some Stealth and Incap for 3 clicks with pretty solid attack values.
And a stop click with a good regen.
Yeah, and stop click with regen and phasing, free phasing and then regen. I think she's good for her points already, and if you steal a relic or resource, it's extra gravy on the cake. I mean,
she, as I said though, she's one of those pieces I really like. I think we're definitely going to see her. She is a risk piece though. I feel like because I don't know if, I don't know how often people are popping, if there are very many teams that don't run resources that make top in ROC.
If they're allowed, everybody.
Okay. Well, then we'll see her in those tournaments, definitely.
Yeah. Now, that's what I'm saying. Now, though, now that Slosh is out, with Lydia, with White Witch, with Phantom Girl, with other things that are resources, I don't know. Do we see it all the time now? I don't know that we do. I think we still see resources a lot.
That's true. This is going to be an ebb or flow maker, I think.
This is really going to be very interesting. Next time we do this podcast and we do a meta episode, are we still talking about teams, if resources are allowed?
Or are we going to be talking about resources like they're a gamble to run?
Or are we going to be talking about it like it's a 50-50, which I think we will.
Yeah. The other thing I do like about her is with Power Plant, jacking Blacklight Ring with her substantially improves her.
Oh, can't do it.
She already has Smoke Cloud. Damn it. Okay, never mind. Disregard that.
All right. I disregard everything you say anyway. So
that's all right.
You know what I'm saying? I'll go ahead and talk about Highfather since we already talked about him so much.
We have to talk about him. The man's in a chair. That's all we got to talk about. Every figure ever put in a damn chair is retarded.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
Metron, Professor X.
You can stop there. Highfather is amazing. The thing is, things are going to get answered with his trait here in the next few weeks from WizKids as to intent, so some things may change.
I do expect a player's guide update on him.
But as of now, he's just... You play him for the Pact, of course. The Pact is at the beginning of the game. You may, so you don't have to, but most of the time you're going to. You may announce a Pact. The highest point character on your force and the highest point character on your opponent's force, 300 points or less, cannot target opposing characters with an attack until one of them has taken damage from an attack, or they are the only two characters on the map. This can't be ignored. So what you typically want to do, I think, is have Highfather be your highest point character. And he's not going to, because if you look at his dial is all support, at least for the first 3 clicks. It's, I brought some TK with me. Oh, I brought leadership and prop 2 and support. And when I use support, I give you +1 value. So, hey, I don't need to TK you. We're already in position. Oh, let me just take power action and buff every value you have.
And he can still support with that because the pack just stops him from attacking opposing characters.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna buff your values up +1, and I'll still have prob on top of that, in case you miss for some reason. I think that they had to put him in this set to keep Bizarro in check.
Or else people would be running 250 Bizarros with Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. This also hurts team bases, although team bases can pop people off, to keep that the pack won't transfer down to the pack stays on team base. But I still think what it really hurts, again, is Shuma. Shuma takes a huge hit. Bizarro takes a huge hit, and this is the only thing going to keep Bizarro from being heavy. I think we'll see Bizarro time to time, but I don't think he'll be as dominant as he would be if Highfather hadn't come out in the same set.
We've named 4 figures that shut down Shuma. What do you think? I don't think we're going to see very many Shumas for much longer, honestly. I think between those 4 figures, especially with some of them being as cheap as they are.
Yeah, I would think we see about 2 teams. Here's what's going to dominate. Well, we'll talk about it. Remind me at the end.
Okay, that's fine.
To kind of predict what we think we're going to see overall. Against team bases, he helps the situation. Against Shuma, he greatly helps, and against Bizarro, he greatly helps depending on the point value. I think what he mainly does, though, and this I'll get into in more detail at the end, is that he encourages balanced team construction.
Yeah. On
your side, because you want everybody less than him, and on the opponent's side.
He kind of pushes you into the primary, secondary, sometimes tertiary, and then support.
Mm-hmm.
Because, especially when you build with him, once again, you want him to be the person in the pact. So you have 170 points left to divide among figures, and you want them all less than 130. So you're looking at your Brother Voodoos, you're looking at all that crap.
The bad matchups I think of for him, first of all, the number one, the first thing that I popped, because I was talking about Tossin about this, because I like Highfather. I like that he exists. I like the way he plays. I think he's great for the metagame. And I was kind of thinking of some ways to play him here soon. And I was thinking to myself, what would I do if I was playing against me, the team that I just built? What would I do if I was facing Highfather? Brother Voodoo. Brother Voodoo can mind control any of... Okay, Brother Voodoo gets, we can all assume, the best mind control in the game. Okay, all Brother Voodoo has to do is phase over, mind control one of Highfather's other friendly guys, and then have them hit Highfather one time, and now boom, Pack's dead. They took damage. Doesn't say it had to come
That's if he was their Pack, yeah.
Right, which, if they're playing a good Highfather team, he will be. Why would you spend 150 points on a character you're going to keep from attacking?
That's true.
So, all they got to do is hit Highfather 17 toughness one time, and the Pact is now busted. You're already running Brother Voodoo on your fucking team anyways. He's stupid. So, he already has a natural predator in Brother Voodoo. I think...
Which Brother Voodoo is already a high stock figure anyway.
Yeah. I think Book also kind of... And this is good, that Book finally... We've been talking about how bad it's getting with all this other stuff. I think Book is actually good against Highfather because you give the cheaper pieces that are allowed to attack better attack values. They can fight back better and have better chances of winning against the Highfather team.
Because, I mean, you give Scotty's hammer to basically any figure and it becomes a powerhouse. That +2 attack puts any figure at like an 11-3, 11-4. Which, an 11-3, 11-4 can defend itself against a 70-80 point figure, like guaranteed.
Drew?
We're running out of figures. I'll go ahead and throw one out. Riddler Prime. Most of the figures on this list are on this list because they're ridiculous in some form or another. But I think Riddler's going to show up because he's extremely balanced, and once some of the bigger high-name support pieces roll out, we're going to be needing a lot more of what he does.
I like him for the shape change. Or the lack of shape change, but that's not down dial, sadly.
Yeah.
Or that is down dial, sadly.
I think Riddler's okay with... one thing... Okay, if I had to predict, we're not going to see Riddler except maybe once or twice in some top 16 teams. Probably not winning. But I do think he has a lot of things going for him, you're right, in the sense of easy fitability.
Yeah.
With Wildcard.
Yeah.
Cheap point cost.
Yeah.
Barrier and Prob, which I completely forgot
Actually, for 69 points.
I completely forgot he had 6 range.
And Indom Barrier for 69 points is really good, actually, when you look at like Jinx and stuff like that.
And then the Mind Control. I think he's good on a Book team with the give him running shot with his special Mind Control, which is one of the best Mind Controls in the game.
The only problem I see is that he fits the same role that Brother Voodoo does, and they're both primes.
Right, and Brother Voodoo
is that much better, yeah.
That's
probably... But I do love Edward Nigma. I do think we might see one or two of them.
The thing is, we don't know what the future's going to hold, so most of these pieces could end up being crap, or others could be great. I don't know.
We are getting low on the list and having to pull from the bottom of the barrel. Austin, do you have any particular ones?
If I had to pick one, and Drew will love me for this one, Polar Boy. Having played against him tonight, I think he's got a lot of capabilities people haven't really noticed.
I agree.
Hunter played him tonight to good effect. You get good value for his points, and when you throw in the extra on his end cap, the trait that keeps people from being hit by energy explosion, and the wild card enhancement and everything, he helps a lot of stuff that... Well, for one, he locks down pieces. He's double bolt with that special end cap, which is amazing.
That's why you play him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the enhancement, the
all
barrier...
of the rest is icing on the cake.
Yeah, the enhancement, the barrier, the wild card... Well, you do play him for the wild card too, but the enhancement and barrier are nice, but you're playing him for that special end cap in the wild card.
Or you throw this bastard Electro Blast to give him a 7-range triple bolt with that end cap, and you just shut down 3-figure teams. If you shut down 3 figures with double tokens, I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that. And he's barrier. As you said, he drops leadership, precision strikes, kind of meh. But those first 3 clicks with sidestep and everything, the only problem I have with him really is that he's a flyer. If he wasn't a flyer, I'd prefer he be carryable because he's a sidestep character. I would rather have him where someone can carry him up so he can end cap. But I do like him. I think for 78 points, there's the potential that we'll see 1 or 2 of them.
The only other one left in the set I think has good potential is Phantom Girl. Phantom Girl, 72 points, and we talked about her last week a little bit. She has the phasing teleport with a 12 movement and passes through any squares occupied by characters holding an object. She may remove any of those objects from the game. We don't care too much about that. but we care about when she uses phasing teleport and passes through characters assigned relics or resources. Those characters can't use those relics or resources until your next turn. Now the thing is, that doesn't require me to roll. That doesn't require you to miss super senses.
Yep.
That doesn't require any risk of a crit miss or taking misters or anything. All I can do is freaking move through you, which isn't hard with the 12 phasing.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I get NCAP for free against any person that I moved through. So she's the ultimate lockdown piece, and the thing I like about her too is a lot of lockdown pieces are focused on one particular character, locking down one particular character, whereas she can affect the whole entire damn opposing team.
Yep.
And then when she'll phase over to a safe position, and like we said with Bizarro on his good clicks, if they come after her, she's got a shape change and a super senses to back her up, and a wild card also to make her more easily playable. I think she has a lot of potential. I think she is Amethyst, but better, because a lot of people on Realms are high on Amethyst right now. I don't like Amethyst.
I think after Amethyst gets some tries tonight, she's going to drop in value.
I'll quickly go over Amethyst before you do Shadowlast.
I just want to look at Shadowlast because I can't remember her point cost.
Shadowlast is...
She's okay.
She won't see a lot, but she's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Amethyst, the problem with her, she has a better thing. Once per game, when she hits an opposing character, you can choose that neither one can make a ranged attack, and that she and that character can only target each other with close combat attacks until one of them's KO'd. What's the problem with this dial? No starting move and attack.
Yeah.
No range.
The combo we're seeing people talk about is her and Highfather and using her to lock up the extra person for a couple turns to blast him, which, I'm not going to lie, that's a viable idea to me, especially since she has Invincible in her top 2 clicks.
If you're going to do that, why not run Star Sapphire?
Yeah, I agree. There's better choices. Wait,
or why not... Yeah, from Anniversary.
You can't run it, it's modern.
Anniversary... Oh, shit, it's not modern anymore.
That's what I was about to say.
Fuck. I forgot it got...
yeah, I was like, hold on a second there, buddy.
But, I don't know, man.
I don't personally like... I like that combo. I think there's better options available, though, than that.
I think Phantom Girl fits the same bill, but better. I think it's just easier.
I would rather have a good...
Give me the guaranteed effect and the chance at an end cap instead of the locking down.
I would rather have a good secondary, tertiary attacker than have Amethyst, I think. Because Amethyst's damage output isn't good enough to make up for that. And if for some reason the combo fails, it crumples. Because then you have Amethyst and Highfather not doing their job for their point value.
Yeah. The other one you were going to talk about
I wanted to take a look at, because I know Drew played her, and I have heard good things about her, was Shadowlast, who is... We are seeing a lot of figures in this 70-80 point gap. Like, honestly, all of them we've talked about pretty much. And I think that's another big thing to mention about the meta, is that a lot of figures do try to aim for that 70-80 point gap.
That's the thing I'm going to get into at the end.
Sadly, she's kind of lacking on keywords. She's got in-cap, 6 range, stealth. What you play her for, though, is her trait. She can use Smoke Cloud, and friendly characters that only occupy squares with these markers can't have lines of fire drawn to them, and opposing characters that only occupy squares with these markers can't draw lines of fire.
Okay, wait. Are you talking about my bitch really on me?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what makes that so good is all this ignore hindering, all those night vision goggles, all that, have no effect on that. People run Barrier because it protects your team from being ranged attacked and close combat attacked.
Yeah, but now Iron Man and Cyclops don't give a shit about that.
This is effectively the same kind of cup of tea. It's a good counter to those specific figures and a lot of the figures that are good. All of a sudden, their brother Voodoo has to literally get up on you to mind control you instead of shooting you from across the map. And
Andy's sitting in Smoke Cloud. Oh, wait, he has Smoke Cloud top click, doesn't he?
But he can't Smoke Cloud over a Smoke Cloud, can he?
No, I was going to say he'd take the minus, but if he can use Smoke Cloud himself, then he won't take the minus. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So
yeah, he has it, so he won't take it.
She's a really good piece, but I don't think she's going to be meta.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. She doesn't have willpower. And...
That's true, but...
She's legitimately... I think that if she did have willpower, she might be considered. But in terms... I really like her because she's a good secondary attacker. She's got a 10 attack and 3 damage and 17 energy shield. She's got survivability, she's got stealth, she's got wild card. I think she's a legitimately great piece, but I really don't think she's meta.
I think the one thing that, to me, prevents her from being absolute meta, if I don't know much about the character. If she had a good keyword set with her that would fit a lot of the figures, like mystical or something like that, I think that would greatly increase her chances. But right now, I don't necessarily see her fitting on a lot of teams. I don't know what's the ratio of like theme team to non-theme team at the moment.
About half and half.
Okay.
I forgot to mention on Phantom Girl pros and cons, like what she's good at current meta. Obviously book, but also power plant, Phoenix Force. It doesn't any resource. That's the good thing about her is that any resource that they run, she's going to be good against.
Yeah.
I would say I think we might see a Shadowless. I would put stock in her as being a potential piece, especially if ranged pieces if heavy ranged teams become the norm with power plant starting to dominate and stuff like that over it. I think we could see her.
Oh, Dr. Thomas Wayne's coming to town.
God, I'm going to start running him. I had no idea he was that good.
In closing, what I think is that
the meta's healthy.
Well, that's a given. But
do we give it a bill of health?
I think that with Highfather's inclusion and with Bizarro's inclusion, them being the two obvious, are going to, in some way or shape or form, affect the meta. And White Witch, to an extent. I think all three of them push me towards this thought, is that we're going to see less and less and less teams of Team Base, Shuma, or maybe even Iron Pharaoh. To an extent of a 130-point attacker and then support, or is he 110?
Yeah, I think all the chases are 110.
And then I think we're going to see less of that, and we're going to see more of the 80-point range.
Yeah,
we're going to see 3 80-point pieces, and a 20-30-point piece, and something
else.
That
was why I was so stoked about Prime Cheetah. Damn it!
Or we're going to see one 100-point attacker. Couple 80-90 point pieces, and then something.
I was like, you could play
because
Friday.
That hurts Highfather because you have better options once your pact gets formed. It helps against Bizarre because you have more people going after him that are capable of dealing him damage. Whereas if you run the Iron Man team that won the Cyclops team, or the Iron Man team that did well,
her stock's gone up to be Wonder Girl.
Yeah, but that's a different set.
I know. No, I'm just saying.
We're talking about Slosh
here. No. I'm saying because of the changes coming with Slosh. Because she's a really good, cheap figure that attacks in that good point range.
Yeah.
I think
we will start to see more balanced teams. We'll see more 4-figure teams in the 300 point, around the 80 point mark. We'll see more Brother Voodoo, more Wonder Girl, more people like that. A lot of the people that we talked about today that are in that, the White Witch, the Phantom Girl, that point range piece, Chase Lydia, Tellus.
I was going to say, I can't wait to see. What I do like about this meta, more so than previous metas, is that I feel like we're in an era of Heroclix with all this potential now that, as with Magic, you have genres of team builds. We'll now start seeing combo builds that take advantage of Tellus and other pieces like that. We'll have general balanced combat builds that are just good all around. We might see some good support. I mean, like, we're seeing a phase out of the tent pole, I think, with Highfather and all that.
And also, well, tent poles have never been super strong, but we're seeing the even further crapping on tent poles, and then we're seeing the slow the game down a little bit.
Yeah.
There's no alpha. You don't want an alpha strike, especially when you got Bizarro.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Highfather who doesn't let you fucking alpha strike in the first place.
You
got White Witch who, I want to take 2 Heroes for Hires token off. Ain't gonna happen. I got 2 Science Police out. Yeah, well, you just killed your own figure by trying to kill my main guy too.
While I'm not normally big on hard silver bullets, we did get a lot of them in Slosh, but I think at the same time, Slosh opened up the potential of the metagame enough to make up for that. While it weakens and kind of kills some strategies, at the same time, the varied abilities and the choices of abilities that we have now means we're going to see a lot of fun stuff out of this meta, and I'm actually really excited to hear what the results out of this first ROC are.
Let's move into community. Question this week was, I wanted to gauge the interest on people's thoughts on the Yu-Gi-Oh set. And I just kind of asked, are you getting any Yu-Gi-Oh? If so, how much? I'd say about the majority said they're not getting any. A couple people, in fact, one of them being our friend Jake, 2 people said they had originally pre-ordered Yu-Gi-Oh! And then once it got delayed, 2 months now, they canceled it once it got delayed. Because the thing was, they had a good date when they originally set Yu-Gi-Oh!
There was an opening for
sets.
There
was a big opening. It was going to be a good time. I think they should have released it at that time. Now that they've pushed it right into Winter Soldier, Deadpool. Days of Future Past, right before Deadpool, and people don't want to spend money on a Yu-Gi-Oh!
Not
set.
to mention Yu-Gi-Oh! Was coming out at tax time, when everyone gets their tax checks.
Yes.
So everyone had extra money to throw, so of course they were looking at this tertiary set that was...
So 2 people just flat out said, hey, I canceled it once they delayed it.
Yeah.
A lot of other people said, yeah, but only for specific ones that I want for either nostalgia factor or for playability. And that right there is my answer too. I don't plan on collecting the whole set, at least not right out of the gate, just because it'll be too expensive. This is a huge fucking set.
55 figures in a gravity.
You know how expensive it's going to be to collect this whole set? As much of a collector as I am, I don't know.
Predict this set. Like, it's going to be like Hammer Thor all over again. Not enough people are going to buy it, and all these pieces are going to be like... First of all, it's worse than Hammer Thor because this is a CTD set and it's got fucking super rares in it.
Yeah, and God, CTDs are horrible about rarity distribution.
I think it'll be more akin to what was the set that came out recently? Wow, I'm completely derping.
This guy, Drew.
Mage Knight?
Any of the Lord of the Rings sets. I think it's more akin to that. I don't want to say it's almost as big. It's a little bigger than they are.
No, it's bigger.
What do the Lord of the Rings sets usually end at? 40, 50?
No, 30.
Yeah, high 30s, 40.
Yeah,
okay.
35.
I think it's more akin to the Lord of the Rings sets. The prices are going to be high on the figures individually because not many people are buying it compared to the normal click sets, I should say. Mm-hmm. Lord of the Rings is popular, but compared to the normal
super rares and chases.
Which Lord of the Rings started doing with the Fellowship set or whatever.
Not chase.
Oh, no, they've done
rares. Just rares and then chase.
True. I think it's more comparable to that, and of course it's a very large set. Honestly, though, and I like large CTDs because I like having variants when I buy them. Like, that's the reason I don't really buy a lot of gravity feeds for main sets, because I don't like buying, like, 6 figures and getting dupes on 2 or 3 of them. Mm-hmm. I really like opening a booster and really having no idea what the hell I'm going to get, and then depending on how the distribution is on SRs and chases... I think it's better as a buy randomly product than a buy by the brick. And I think that's what they were going for.
Only a couple people said they planned on getting like a case or more or collecting the whole set. But
I don't want to collect the whole set.
I think I want to get my favorite nostalgia pieces like Relinquish, my favorite characters I'll pick up, and then pick up a couple that are just good pieces just for playability, like some of the good traps and spells.
The elf.
Really, that's the main reason I'm buying it.
The healing,
the elf,
the elf one, yeah, mystical elf. That looks like good clicks. Some stuff like that.
I'm getting my brick because I want duplicates of some of the traps, which are typically towards the commons and uncommons. I want duplicates of good traps, but I also want trade value, which I feel like the set's a good trade value set.
Moving on to dial design. So we had our first ever tie in dial design history. Where
with 2 powerhouses of dial design,
with 2 guys who have won. Have they both won multiple times?
I think Batarangs won multiple times, but I don't think we are.
I think Venom's won. I don't know.
I think Venom is the one who's won multiple
times.
I thought Batarang hasn't.
Okay.
I don't know. You guys are winners.
I know Swagnito won twice before because he won back to back.
Yeah. Because he paid us under the table.
Either way, Venom and Batarang have both won. No, you know what Batarang did? I think didn't he win Best Build and
that's what
dial design one time? Anyways, 2 guys that have already won once before tied, just a point ahead of Swagnito, actually, I think, and then like a point ahead of somebody else. So it was really close. So what we decided to do was have just a sudden death round where it's only these 2 guys, and they each make a dial for my assignment was, I'll give you the option of making either a Suicide Squad member or a Thunderbolts member. That way you got a DC and a Marvel option. And they both made really good dials, and we could not decide. We couldn't decide which one I let the boys pick first. Of course, they each picked one. I freaking still couldn't decide, and I kept mulling them over. I like them both. The good thing about We Are Venoms is he did Amanda Waller.
The wall.
As
Scott likes to call her.
The pros, there's so much flavor in this piece that I feel like he captures her Amanda Waller great, and he adds on extra mechanics that are very interesting and very good ideas. But the bad thing was he overdid it on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated.
There was way too much text. There was way too much shit to read on each power and on the resource thing. But then I would read more about the resource thing and how it works, and it only works with this, which is very comic accurate. It's like I could not decide. And then with Batarangs, he did the typical Batarang where it's not complicated. It's just the perfect amount of flavor to make them special with good names and powers and everything. But we discussed it as a group. It was extremely hard to decide. We ended up actually going with We Are Venom for the wall. So I'll contact you and see which one. Speaking also of dial design, I will start a new thread for dial design for March, and we'll get started and kick things off. Now, the special, I said that we would have another special month. The special thing about March is that you guys are going to grade each other's dials this month. We are not going to do judge ratings.
You can't bitch at us anymore.
So what is going to happen for this month only is if you submit a dial for that week, you also just signed yourself up to grade everyone else's dial that submits that week. Now, you don't have to do feedback. I don't want you to, because you'll see how freaking long it takes to do that stuff, and see how long I spend almost the whole day doing dial design.
I can't do it. Sorry, guys.
So you just have to give me a score, 1 to 10. I'll put more details about all this in the actual thread. But yeah, if you submit a dial for each week in March, each week that you submit one, you have to also grade you grade everyone's except for your own. And then you'll send them to me. I'll get the average scores. I'll post the average score, and we'll go.
It's a bit of a walk in the shoes of.
So check out, go to HC Realms, find the dial design thread, and find your first.
Austin, what was your thoughts on all the things we just discussed?
Something. It's not my fault, guys.
Something.
I had stuff I had to do.
Dark side. Best build we already talked about. Congratulations to the winner, the French Tickler. And you built a very good team. Actually, there were several good teams. This is one of the better months of dial design best build we've had. I thought there were a lot of good teams. Couple questions this week before we wrap things up. One is from Cap Planetary. What is, in our opinion, of course, what's the most broken Heroclix figure ever made?
Oh, why would you ask this?
I already have mine, and I'm not going to say it till the end because I want to see if you guys say it, but I really don't think you will. I think this is one that might surprise you.
Honestly, if not for the fact he's getting changes, I'd say Highfather, or that he'll get clarification. I'd say Highfather due to the fact he promotes bad play. There's a big debate on the forums about it right now where the fact that you can pop a 40-point figure and then just pass turn for 40 minutes it's not a healthy figure for that. That's my definition of broken. It's something like that literally ruins the game.
Yeah.
I can't really... It's been a while since I played against a figure, though, that's made me... no figure I can say has made me feel like
I'll say this. Not broken currently. Broken at its time in the current game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it came out, its dominance.
If I had to pick one that I think in its time was broken would be Nightcrawler.
I knew he was going to fucking say one.
Well, I've seen threads and stories on Nightcrawler, and I've seen how bad he really warped the meta and the effects of it. And they made a whole figure just to counter him effectively. Really, that's probably my choice.
It sounds like that was Drew's also.
Well,
which is fine.
No, it's not fine. No. The people want content. We'll give them content.
We do. We give them Highfather and Nightcrawler.
Hunter, go ahead and give yours.
Arwen.
Yeah.
I think Arwen's...
That's on the same boat, actually.
Listen.
I think Arwen's the most broken figure.
Listen, I totally agree with you, and I will tell you why. Gen Con 2013, I walk in the fucking doors. You walk in the doors. You build this team for this thing, and some dick.
Hey, I didn't do it.
Some dickhole decides to run 2 of them.
The team that I ran 2 of them, and I what's it called? What's it called? Damn it!
Highlander?
No, the
Loudwater.
I loudwatered like 3 times the whole tournament, so don't yell at me.
I'm not yelling at you.
But you had the potential.
I'm just
and
saying.
I didn't do it.
I'm just saying. The week before, we played an event where we played 1,000-point Lord of the Rings, and I knew then I was not going to win this event or even place. I knew that I would be lucky to go 1 and 2 because everyone there was playing Arwen. And everyone there was loudwatering.
When it comes to figures like that, yeah, I really think she breaks Lord of the Rings.
If you play in a game that allows her to do her...
She doesn't break Lord of the Rings.
No, she breaks it. If she was allowed... If you played 400 Silver Age right now, if there's an ROC, 400-point Silver Age,
she could...
And somebody had the brains to play a Arwen or 2 Arwens, for fuck's sake, since it's not Silver Ring, they would win. How do you stop that? You don't. You don't stop 2 Arwens taking turns loudwatering. Unless you just have a lucky team build that doesn't care about smoke cloud or unavoidable
Or you're playing a
damage
team of Silver Age Hulks that get better as they take damage.
for some reason. But I feel like with the rest of your team, there's got to be good combos that you can put on the rest of your team that Arwen, like...
Well, because...
I think she's the most broken individually the most broken figure ever made, just simply from that epic action.
That's true. Definitely due to the fact that if there was 400-point meta games like that,
which we might see. The meta game is moving up. It's not going to be 300, only 300.
I don't think they'll stay 300. We should do this as a topic one of these days. Talk about point costs.
Broken, like there should have been a lot of broken figures.
Yeah, I agree with Hunter's choice though majorly because Arwen literally is.
She completely ruins a format.
Yeah, that's effectively the way I see it. Broken figures to me are those figures that like when they come up on the other side of the board, I want to forfeit. Like, it's not going to be a fun game to me. And she's definitely up there. Like, I don't want to play in Lord of the Rings tournaments at Gen Con this year because of King Arwen. I ran Sauron to counter her.
To counter, yeah. Good attempt there, buddy. A couple other emails. One from Tom. He also submitted a best build team, but he just at the beginning says that he want to start with a quick thank you for the podcast. He says that he... where is it?
Enjoys listening.
A few weeks ago, we answered one of his questions about breakaway and asking for advice on pacing. He just he just wanted to say thank you. Ever since then, and he's tried to kind of use that advice. He's gone 6-1 in that time, and he thinks that we provide good advice. So thank you, Tom, and also for submitting to the best build contest.
Yeah, to highlight that was something that, as I said on that podcast, it's really changed how I've played the game to pace well. And to take my time a little bit with actions and everything. It's completely changed. And it's kind of funny now because you can kind of see worse players and know they're kind of worse players by how they respond in the first few turns.
And then another question I had from Matt Miller asking about Tellus.
Okay.
He asks...
I gotta see that.
He asks, does Tellus's power allow you to make close combat attacks through his effect on other people? The answer is no, and the reason is
Poison Ivy set a precedent.
Is that close combat attacks require
you to be adjacent.
They don't acquire line of fire.
Yeah.
In fact, if you think about
counted squares, because if you counted squares, you could melee down terrain.
Yeah, if you think about it, you can have 4 figures that are bunched up like a 4-square board, and one in one corner can attack the other one in the other corner, and technically they have no line of fire. They can't outwit.
Because it checks adjacency, it doesn't check.
They can't outwit each other. They can't see each other, but they can punch and hit each other. So the thing is, Tellus's power lets you draw lines of fire and count squares from those figures, but you're still not technically adjacent. So poison, you can't poison them through that. Close combat attacks you can't make because it requires adjacency. The only way to do that is if you have a power, like Austin said, like No Man's Land Poison Ivy, where it specifically states that you can determine adjacency through her plans. Yep. If it said that, then you could.
But it doesn't, because
so
that would make Tellus completely...
So Tellus isn't standing there and a giant fist comes through his face and punches somebody.
Although that would be really cool.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be awesome.
Tellus is already cool enough. The world would explode if they could.
I agree.
So we want to thank you guys. Oh, real quick, YouTube channel.
Go watch that match.
Well, that too. I put up a Fast Forces review of Superman Legion of Superheroes. This is the only video that we've had negative feedback on, and that's only because people think that I didn't sing the praises of the figures enough. But I still feel like if you watch the video, I give good reasons behind why. I didn't give any of them bad ratings except Cheetah. I gave like a 2 out of 5, which really she deserved a fucking 1 out of 5. But
let me see his Cheetah.
But anyways, I gave them almost all mediocre reviews with the exception of Giganta, who I felt was pretty good.
Having played against these figures a couple times now in the last week.
She's 4 fucking clicks long. With no move and attack, and you hit her one time, she's dead.
Yeah, you got a point.
And she has, what's that, a 16 defense with nothing on it?
She's got Superson.
Having played against quite a few
of
these
she's
figures.
fucking
Having played against quite a few of these figures now, while they're okay, I definitely don't think this is a Fast Forces on par with like Birds of Prey or some of those other ones that have really good pieces in there.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Giganta is pretty good. But anyways,
I think it's solid, honestly.
I said it was mediocre. I didn't say they were bad.
That Gigantic's fucking
See,
nuts.
the thing is, people think that
Have you seen the Giganta?
When I say mediocre, people think that's bad. I'm just saying they're average for their point cost in the entirety of what we have in modern age. They're average. Giganta slightly above average, Cheetah slightly below average.
She's way below.
None of these guys are going to end up in Drew's shop of value.
No, none of them. Maybe Giganta.
Giganta could.
Maybe one of these days. But anyways, all I said was I gave good reasons. I don't like Lex. Why? He has mastermind and a special leadership. What does that require? Adjacency. What's the only attack power they give him with no movement attack? Pulse wave. Why the fuck do I want to pulse wave my own figures? So that was my point, and I list that as my reason. Like, this is why I don't like him. He's poorly designed.
Listen, I got this for $2.
In Justice League, team ability is on a lot of them. That's the worst team ability in every game.
I think the reason people were giving you negative feedback is because me and Drew weren't on there to sexy up the place.
Well, you could have came over and we could have had
a sexy party. You just need
to start inviting me.
I like the Grundy.
But then I have to take you home afterwards.
I like the Giganta.
It's not my fault.
The Lex Luthor sucks a bag of dicks. The Black Man is okay.
And I said in the video, Grundy and Manta are solid.
The Bizarro is a fun choice.
They're pretty good for their points, but they're not exceptional. And I stand by that.
Okay, let me put it this way. I wouldn't pay $20 for that.
It's 16, but yeah.
So, anyways, it does have a cool map. But, anyways, if you want a good look at the figures and a breakdown of what their dials play like and if I think they're good, and also a
YouTube comments,
also a look at the maps, which are pretty cool. And one of them is specifically really good for Grundy and Black Manta because it has a lot of hindering and water on it. Go check that out. Also, be sure to, like Austin said, be sure to check it out this week. I'll try to have the best build matches up on Monday. They're always good. This week's was exceptionally good, especially me and Austin's match.
And I need to start, when we do these best builds, I'm going to try to pay more attention to where the camera is and try to get my matches set up over there.
But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Send any questions, comments, feedback at dialh4heroclix@gmail.com.
Also,
follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Sorry for no value corner this week.
Drew will be back with the value corner next week.
I got lazy.
Double value next week.
And next week we'll also be back with comics discussion and talking about All New X Factor, which is a series that Drew's excited to check out.
I gotta read it.
See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Later.